Well, welcome back, everybody. I was telling the others that got on a little bit early about how I think I finally may have solved the StreamYard audio bug. So far I've gone almost the entire week without it happening. So we'll see how tonight goes. And on that note, it's going to break. Whenever I give myself kudos and rewards, it always seems to break on me, no matter what I try to accomplish.
You know not to tempt Murphy like that.
But yeah, you know what? Murphy can stick it. And I apologize to all my Irish folks out there.
All right, yo.
So, where we last left off, team, after dealing with the assassins back at House Loomis, had decided to seek shelter in one of the many temples within the different spires. This gave them an opportunity to safely take a rest and think about and organize their thoughts around what they think might be happening. Clearly, we've begun to learn a little bit of new information that is beginning to kind of reveal that whatever happened that night, the illusion that nothing has happened seems to be playing out. A covert operation at kidnapping the head of House Loomis may have taken place, supplemented or supplanted by either those that are magically inclined of self-disguise or possibly co-conspirators within House Loomis seeking to overthrow the head of the house and allowing the potential rise of a new house leader. However, through conversation with Stoneclaw Ilthurin, we learn of a new possible person of interest, a person that has been described either wearing Ivory Syndicate clothing, possibly being involved with the Wardens. He seems to go by the name of Aquinon, an individual that has interacted with Ilthurin to purchase and procure unique artificer objects as well. Here, we also learned that Ilthurin has gave information to the team or group in regards to an organization called the Greymakers. They have an auction house in the Core Spire, and within the Core Spire, an opportunity to possibly learn more about how these Greymakers might be involved in all this conspiracy that might be unfolding currently. But without a direct understanding as who to point to, the team had decided to head over into the Smolder Spire in an effort to seek out either one, an artificer that goes by the name of Sarai, to learn more about the application of these diamonds that were procured and given over to the vault of House Loomis, or possibly even understand or locate the headquarters of the Hubatt Corsairs, an organization that had already shown some kindness and organizational appeal to those at the Spire by Fire run by what's his name? Core Spire, Lancer Spire,
Ember
Spire, Ember Brew. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ember Brew and his cohorts who had kind of started this group on this initial journey that they're on. And with that in mind, the gondola drifts into a spire that you have not yet found yourselves in. This particular spire is quite smaller than the others, but heavily ensconced with soot, smoke, the sound of industry, and heavily burdened individuals going about their day, moving huge loads of crates and barrels amongst the busy walkways and roadways that are built into the side of this spire. The fact that it doesn't reach as high as the other ones pretty much tells us that this heavy smoke and this kind of heavy pollution that burdens this part of the spire can't quite find the wind or can't quite find enough height. And between the humidity of the jungle canopy below and the hot, dry air of the pollution, it's created this haze or an inversion layer of both heat and coughing smoke. Most people here that you see are wearing cloths around their mouths or wearing these strange-looking goggles to protect their eyes. You can see people directing traffic along the walkway and the roadways, kind of carved in to the edges of this the spire, you can see huge warehouses and storage areas, blacksmithies, and other kind of mid-tier or mid-level manufacturer, like furniture or leather tanners. You even watch as coming off the gondola and stepping into an area that smells like that sour leather smell is mostly made of skinners and tanners. You watch as a group of hobgoblins haul this huge wagon over to the very edge, and just you watch as all the kind of tanning and liquid solution to treat the leathers just kind of poured off the edge and down into the jungle canopy, and then they cart it back over to where they're currently working on whatever they're working on. This is a busy place. It's crowded. No distinct sign of any wardens, which catches you a bit off guard. The Smolder Spire is a bit of a kind of Wild West area of the city where the great guild houses, the manufacturer houses, and all the different kind of merchant houses that run their businesses here kind of hold sway over both the security and expectation of the behavior down here. For now, you guys just got off the gondola. You're in a small kind of offloading area with many different pathways leading either deeper into the spire or up into the height of the spire. What would you guys like to do?
I think when the gondola lands, Foreign is going to start like looking around for like urchins or just kids roaming around. Just somebody you can start asking questions to that wouldn't immediately be suspicious of being asked questions. I saw it.
Oh no!
It was a self jinx.
See that? That was rude, dude. Rude. Oh. Never fail. Anyway, now that my jinx is off, give me a perception check, if you would, please, Ford.
Why, certainly. Not great. That's a 10.
There is not much of an urchin crowd here. This is not known for a place for pickpockets and other notorious activity. It's been said that while the Smolder Spire is one of the more bastions of the Hubatt Corsairs, there are other criminal organizations that kind of profit from this area, and they go out of their way to make sure that it's under their control. Some of the more corrupt wardens are also kind of responsible for this area, which often leaves them kind of attached exclusively to their barracks locations. Most of the crowd that you're seeing are the day labor of a very busy industrial center.
Then I may walk up to the hobgoblins that were dumping the liquid, just kind of sidle up to them.
What you want? Go away.
Well,
Ain't
now,
got nothing for you.
excuse me, fellas.
We don't like panhandlers here. Move on.
Panhandlers, I plan to do quite the opposite. If you would like a gold in your pocket, perhaps you might hang around and listen for a moment.
All four of them just kind of cross their arms. Yeah, we're listening. What you want there, Fay boy?
Now, that's better. My friends and I are looking for a particular place of residence around here. On the down low, the Hubatt Corsairs have been looking out for us a little bit, and we might be looking to see if we could get in contact with one of their members.
They just turn and walk away and go back to work.
Well, that was rude. Anybody else got any ideas?
This place is extremely gross. I'd like to be out of here as soon as possible. I'm gonna wrap like a pink scarf around my face, trying to avoid this dog.
It's like a Traumaton's the only one that like cycles air for the purposes of arcane use, so it's not like it's bothering him. In fact,
Nope.
there's a little bit of exhaust puff coming out of the other side of his form.
I agree with Melody.
Clearly.
Is it Soraya Embervale that we're looking for here?
Yes.
Should we just ask someone if they know where she keeps shop?
Judging by the looks of the area down here, we may have to traverse upward a bit, I would expect.
All right.
So, I don't know, to get our bearings, or would I just try to
Give
figure
me a
out like
survival
one of the
check
paths
as-
going up? Yeah.
Yeah, just give me a survival check as you kind of glance around, trying to get a kind of a geolocation feel as to where you might be.
That's a 6.
I mean, you've never really been in the spire before.
Nope.
The only thing that you note is the level that you're on now is the lowest of the levels that you can obtain. Everything below it takes you down into the jungle canopy. So really the only other recourse is to begin using the walkways that will take you up to the higher portions of the spire, which looks to be maybe a mixture of more warehousing and other types of manufacture. But it looks to be mostly storage and warehousing lots, from what you can tell.
There doesn't seem to be any storefronts or anything like that.
No, that's the weird part. Like, even at this level, whatever they make here or whatever they bring in here for storage does not get sold here. You get the feeling that everything arrives here under the control of the different houses and merchants and guilds, and then it gets kind of organized and ready to either be shipped out into other parts of Marquet or over into the Core Spire, the Lantern Spire, and the Airy Spire.
Can I try to get an idea, some sort of what they're possibly shipping exactly? What's kind of around us?
Yeah, give me an insight check as you're looking around at all the work that's going on and other things that are going on.
That's a 6.
I mean, lots of crates and barrels that are
Rolling so
sealed,
well.
lots of sacks that are sealed. You can see Guildhouse markers stamped on a lot of the containers that are being moved about, but you're not really sure what they're mostly doing here.
A traumaton? Do you have a feature that could maybe, open one of those crates in a manner that would be easy to reseal?
You see Traumaton just like drop one of his maces, just get ready to swing, and then just kind of.
Perhaps that's not the best plan. Remember what it did to the floor in the
So actually,
Spire by
can
Fire.
when you almost died because of a mimic, yes.
Before the
I-
mimic, you busted the floor open.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I do actually. Can I try to unlock one of the doors? Just with my normal robot hands. Just
I mean, it's not a matter of doors. I mean, there are doors that go into
Oh,
warehouses, but there's a lot of wagons and carts and people hand carrying things in different directions, sacks, barrels. Nearby on the platform that you are near the gondola, there are stacks of crates and barrels as well. They don't give you much information as to what might be in them, but they could be opened if you wanted to.
Perhaps we look for a crate that's got Old House Loomis's sigil on it. I do see a great many of the guild houses down here.
Do you see any of Treshy's symbols on any of them?
You can give me investigation or perception on that one if you want.
Ooh, can I also roll for that?
Sure.
I'll roll looking for Loomis if she's rolling for Treshy.
Okay.
24.
Okay.
Ooh, we go.
And a dirty 20,
Yeah, finally something over a 6.
right? It was a dirty 20 for me also. Phil.
Okay. There are. This particular platform that you're on also seems to be connected to other like freight style gondolas that are designed specifically to take on cargo and equipment as opposed to people. While the gondolas for transferring people to the different spires is a little bit nicer, more refined, upkept by the Chandei Quorum, these freight elevators or freight gondolas are dirty and kind of like not very well taken care of. But you can see plenty of stacks of crates related to House Loomis, the House Treshy. You can also see crates that seem to be affiliated to House Maysoon as well. This feels like a staging point for a lot of the big houses that then distribute equipment and items up into the other spires.
I'll go try my hand at one of the Loomis crates.
I'm gonna get somebody else to try their hand at one of the trashy crates.
So the question is, whoever's doing this, whoever decides to do it, I'm going to need a deception check for starters.
Actually, then I should do it.
Okay. So Karina, give me deception.
16.
16. You kind of wedge yourself in between two of the taller stacks, and you pick out a particular barrel. But you get in between the stacks of crates so that your friends that are lingering on the edge of the platform can kind of see you. But if anybody else were over there passing by or specifically looking at you, they'd have less of a chance of noticing where you were. And you're just kind of casually looking around. You look down at the top of the Treshy marked barrel, and there's a skull and crossbone label on the side of the barrel with like a flame signature as well. The top of the barrel is got a metal handle on it and looks to be like you can unscrew it from the center, like it's threaded into the barrel.
I'm sorry, a what?
Like, imagine a lid with a handle on it, right? And it looks like it could be unscrewed and lifted out.
Well, good day as any to make bad choices. Guess I'm gonna open it. Also, sorry, beforehand, can I do a history check on that symbol?
Yeah, give me a history check.
Skull and crossbones in a fire.
Sounds like I shouldn't set off fireworks near there.
9.
9. It can mean anything from poison to explosives to dangerous material. You're not sure what specifically.
If this was Puck, she would open it, but I think I'm gonna try and be a little smarter and just be like, okay, I'm gonna take out a note and write down, I know what you're up to. And then I'm gonna sign it, Regina Green was her name?
Yeah,
Regina,
that was her name.
And I'm gonna meet me if you do not want what can I threaten them with?
To meet a mimic.
Yeah, good one. If you do not want to meet a mimic, see me, and then I write a nondescript location in the Smolder Spire that I hopefully can have a good vantage point from.
Ooh.
And a date and a time within like 3 days.
Okay. Give me another deception roll as you create this note Give me a deception and then a persuasion. So give me deception first.
Might I offer to help
Wow.
you here? And please don't sign it, Regina Green. Remember the note back in the tavern? It didn't say Regina Green. It just had that fancy R and a G.
I will imitate that. Thank you for the note. I did get a 7 though.
But roll with advantage.
Oh,
Yeah, you have the help action. You can roll with advantage.
oh, yay! Thank you.
Yeah.
That was my attempt at a help action.
You're this is 2 3s in a row. Somebody does not want me to succeed. So it's a 7.
7. I mean, it's an okay note. It's got some flaws. You could either continue with persuasion. Give me a persuasion check. I'm going to make it a higher DC though because the note's not that great.
17.
Okay.
I didn't mean to
pretty
bump
good.
into you. I'm sorry.
I'll leave it there. Worst case scenario. Not like they can recognize my writing, probably.
While Karina and Foreign are doing this over by the stacks of crates and barrels, Melody, Eritrea, and Atraumaton, what are the three of you doing? It'll take them some time to do what they're doing.
I mean, I'm gonna go for like the most basic thing I can think of, and just kind of glance around and see if I can see any kind of like a directory or map, like there might be in a town square.
Give me investigation as you do that.
Oh, that is a critical fail.
Oh no.
I'm hoping
I will say, since Ford and Karina are busy over by the crates and barrels, Atraumaton has wandered off to see if he can find a navigational map to the locations within the Smolder Spire. Eritrea and Melody, what are you two doing with your time while all this is going on?
I'm gonna look for someone who seems like they might know what they're doing and approach them and ask them if they know where we can find Solara Embervale. But I'm going to put up a little bit of a front about it.
Yeah. Give me persuasion on that.
Okay.
I feel like Melody is far more into the like I'm gorgeous, therefore people will talk to me.
Yeah.
Kind of vibe. Yeah.
I got a 15.
Okay. While Melody has wandered off to try to find someone to talk to, Eritrea, what are you doing?
I'm really interested in trying to talk to the dock workers that are loading the crates because I kind of used to work in a similar type of business, and I kind of want to get a little history from them of where they came from, what got them here, and if they kind of have any idea of where the stuff they're packing is going off to and any sort of relevance to what they're doing.
Give me a persuasion as you start to interact with some of the folks that are loading onto the freight gondola.
Oh, 6.
Man, that 6 is brutal tonight.
Let's
man.
have the
Those
mark of
sixes
the
are
beast.
killing us. For you, Eritrea, you kind of wander amongst those that are working. Half the time they kind of brush by you. Like there's a moment where one of them kind of like just looks at you and you're about to like start a conversation with him. As you start to ask him a question, just tilts his head like he has no idea what you're saying and just kind of wanders by you to kind of continue loading the crates and other items onto the freight gondola. But off to your left, you watch as Melody catches the eye of this big orc individual, and he's holding on to what looks to be a journal. He's making notations and marks in it when Melody just kind of steps in front of him to ask him a question. The orc looks at you. What do you want? You kind of in my way.
Hello, sir. The Temple of Suni is launching a beautification campaign of the Smolder Spire, just to make everything a lot more beautiful, a lot more pleasurable. I'm super excited to be here speaking with you. We're meant to meet with someone called Solara Embervale. Can you point me in the right direction?
I don't. Wow, you want to? I don't know of a Solara. I know of a Sarai.
A Sarai?
If that's who you're. Yeah, I don't know a Solara. Oh, wait a minute. I do know of a Solara. I think she's a bit of a bard or performer that's often over at the Smolder Spire. But the Sarai, if that's who you're looking for, she's up on the 3rd level of the Smolder Spire. She's in the business of making gadgets, I believe is what she does. Can't miss her. She's a fire genasi. Has a kind of look about her. I don't know if, well, I just want to, you're a satyr, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. You're a satyr in the Smolder Spire, right?
Yeah, but I can take care of myself. I'll show him my very colorful sword.
Yeah, that's a beaut. Listen, look, personally, I like working in places that, and I'll say, Eritrea, you're close enough to like where all the freight's being loaded on that you can actually hear this conversation going on, whereas Karina and Foreign are on the other side of the platform doing their business. But you can listen in as Melody's talking to this orc merchant. Listen, look, I like a little bit of law and order amongst my business because that's how we make coin, right? If there's too much shenanigans going on, too much bribery, extortion, and kidnapping, things get a little hard to do business here. Look, about a week ago, there was a satyr in this neck of the woods, a young male satyr. I don't know how you guys age. Are you old or like how?
I'm not that old.
Well, I mean, I can appreciate your obvious ability to persuade me to talk to you. But what I mean to say is, I would, you know what? He looks like he might have been a little bit older than you. Rumor had it that he was kidnapped by a trashy agent.
Really?
Yeah. Just know that ever since the Fae went away and people couldn't go to there anymore, as people looking for types like you. It's not like it's allowed out in the open. Don't get me wrong. I think broad daylight, like it is now, you're safe. But if you linger here in the Smolder Spire late into the night, it's dangerous for types like you.
I
Get my meaning.
I get your meaning. I can tell you have a good heart, sir. I appreciate it. And I love your earrings.
Oh, thank you. My daughter gave them to me. And I appreciate you saying that I have a good heart, but I'll be honest with you. Any more disappearances are liable to shut down all the platforms and make it hard to do business. You get me meaning?
I understand, and none of that is going to take place once Suni is done with this spire.
I don't know who that is, but if they've got the money to fix it, you go right on ahead. And if you wouldn't mind, can they start with the plumbing? The plumbing would be great. It's very hard to find a place to take a good piss or shit around here. If you get, I got you. Well, I got to get back to work. Good luck. Then he just kind of takes his journal and goes back. Listen, you idiots. Load those crates onto that one. You put the wrong ones over there. And he just kind of gets lost into bickering and yelling at the people that are loading and offloading the crates on the gondolas. But you and Eritrea are kind of near each other after that conversation.
That was a little weird. I'm looking for my sister, but I wouldn't have expected another satyr here. Did you hear that whole conversation?
I did. I'm wondering how you're feeling right now. Are you feeling safe? Should we, it's still light out, but we probably don't want to be wandering around too much longer if there's potential for you being kidnapped.
I don't think we should hang out here super long. On top of it being gross, it does increasingly seem pretty unsafe. But I did find out where Sarai is. She's on the 3rd level. Maybe we can get up quickly before it gets dark and then get back out.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Yes.
So as you two kind of walk away from where they were loading up the crates, you watch as Karina and Forn come out from where they were doing, leaving that note inside of the Treshy barrel to be found. Did you guys open up that crate or that barrel, or did you leave it closed? You left it closed, right? You're muted, Karina.
But we left it closed.
Okay.
I'm gonna say if somebody else wants to do it, somebody.
I mean, it's basically just a strength check to open it.
But fire and deadly looking things with the items that I carry are not really.
Well,
I'd
that's why
rather
I'll
not.
leave first, and then somebody can do it. So, were you able to find any information about the individuals we are after?
Yeah, actually, I just spoke to that very nice orc gentleman over there, and he told me that Sarai's up on the 3rd level. He also said I shouldn't stay here past dark because satyrs are being kidnapped by the Treshies, so maybe we just kind of make this snappy.
He said point blank that the Trashy kidnapped satyrs.
He said it out and out to me.
Oh.
Where the hell is Rust Bucket?
Yeah, you guys look around. There's no sign of a traumaton. You're looking at the crowds of people moving back and forth, the alleyways, the different platforms. You're like, oh shit, where did he go? And you've lost track of him completely.
Trauma!
Perhaps. Perhaps we shouldn't be screaming trauma as we walk through the market.
like as you're doing that, people are just like looking at you kind of strangely and kind of giving you a wide berth to go around you. And
Now,
John, for you, you've wound your way into the 4th alleyway in hopes of finding some kind of sign or posting. You now realize that you're lost. You've ended up in these kind of confusing, intertwining kind of alleys that make up the back end of all these different warehouses and walkways that go up into the next level. And somehow you've gotten separated from where the gondola platform was, and you're completely turned around, and you're not really sure where you are.
All right. Can I find my way back out to like a main thoroughfare, like not a side street, like
Sure, yeah. Give me another.
street.
Now that you kind of get an idea where you came from, and you're trying to backpedal or back path or take your path backwards, give me a survivor check as you try to examine these alleyways and get a better feel for where you might be.
That is a 13.
13. Yeah. You kind of go the way you think you need to go, but you feel like the alleyway is getting darker and more condensed and more congested with like buildings that are leaning over each other. And at the end of the alleyway that you think you need to go down, you could see 3 individuals, but there's enough of a shadow that it's hard to see who they are. They're hovering over a form that's lying on the ground in the alleyway. And they seem to be rooting through its pockets and inside their shirt. And you watch as a goblin face kind of picks its face up to look, and they see you on the other end of the alleyway. The other 2 goblins kind of pull out long, thin blades, and now these 3 goblins are beginning to approach you.
Mm-hmm. So, kind of look at whichever one I deem to be the leader and just kind of point, just like, you, assist me.
Give me an intimidation check, if you would, please.
Intimidation. Oh, good at that. That is kind of crap. That is an 11.
That beats my 4 of an insight check. The 3 goblins are approaching you, and about 20 feet away, they stop. The one goblin who's got the blade out and stares at you for a moment, kind of confused. Its yellow eyes blinking, and then looks back at the other two. You think this is Crusher, the one they were talking about? The other goblin goes, I don't know, but kind of fits the bill, don't you think? Yeah, but what a coincidence. Here we rob and murder someone in the alleyway, and Crusher's already here to clean it up. Hey, hey, Metal Boy, are you Crusher? Are you here for what I think you're here for?
What? No. That is a different unit.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate because we don't know who the fuck you are. What do you want? What do you think you're doing ordering us around?
I appear to have lost my bearings.
Can't move anymore, then? No, boss. I think he means he's lost. Oh. Well, too fucking bad for you. Just get out of here. And the three goblins start to turn to go back to the body in the alleyway.
So I want to kind of like drop one of my flail hands, like, just kind of shoot up the chain a couple of feet, just be like, that was not a request.
The three goblins stop to turn to look at you, kind of. Boss, is he thinking of fighting us? I don't really know what it is. I mean, it's kind of a barrel with weapons. I mean, it's not real, is it? The other goblin kind of like walks towards you, Tronton, as if it's going to like tap on your metal form.
All right. Is he within arm's reach of me?
Yeah.
Ish?
Yeah.
I just want to kind of reach out, like just pick him up by the cloak and just kind of pick him up to eye level with me.
Give me athletics or acrobatics, a contested grapple.
Athletics. Actually, that's not too bad. What is that? That is 22.
Yeah, your clawed arm reaches out, grabs him by the scruff, holds him up in the air. The other two goblins kind of start backing away, and the goblin's little feet are kicking and going, hey, let me go! Let me go!
Perhaps I wasn't clear. I require your assistance in this matter.
The goblin's like, what do you want? Spit it out already. What do you want?
I need one of you to guide me back to the loading docks.
Fuck if I know where those are.
See, Troy just kind of sighs. I just want to kind of like haphazardly fling him into a wall beside me and then start marching towards the next nearest goblin.
So give me I'm going to give him a dex save.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a natural 1. So when you go to fling the goblin, what you didn't realize is that there was a back alley signage that was sticking out of above a door threshold with this heavy iron pole sticking out of it. And so as you throw the goblin, his center mass just gets perforated by this iron pole, and he just dies on the pole. The other two goblins see this, panic, and they just take off running deeper into the alleyway.
Damn drama.
Oh my gosh.
I was worried we were going to have to try to find you, but never mind. Thank you.
So while a Traumaton is currently lost, what are the rest of you doing at this point?
I think we should be looking for him.
Yeah, it's.
I don't even know where to get started.
Everybody give me investigation checks as you start looking around the immediate area, seeing if you can find where he might have gone.
I believe Trauma still has one of my teeth.
That's
he tore
true.
up the hair, but he's got the tooth. So I'll like.
Okay.
While they're looking around, I'm going to pause for a minute and try to talk to him.
Can't believe we're wasting a 23 on this.
Oh, you still know. I don't know where he is, and it sounds like he doesn't know where he is, but we're still going to ask him anyway.
Yeah. Melody, what'd you get?
I got 15.
Okay. And then Air Trio?
8.
8.
Improved. It's improved.
Trauma.
We're up
Where
by
the
2, Air
hell-
Trio. Up by 2.
Trauma. Where the hell did you go?
Location unknown. appears to be in
I can't hear
back
you,
alley.
but you
Oh,
just,
right.
I'm just talking at you.
Right.
He should just
So I'm
head.
just kind of,
Make some loud noise so we can perhaps track your ass down.
No, wait, please don't make noise. We're not trying to draw attention to ourselves.
Karina, as you're kind of like amongst the four of you are beginning to start looking. Karina, you look down about 100 feet into the busy walkway, and you see two little goblin people come running out of an alleyway, screaming about a murderous trash barrel. And they
Not again.
hurrying by the four of you. And they're like, the trash can's trying to kill us! The trash can's trying to kill us! And they just kind of disappear into the crowd.
I run towards where they're coming from as fast as I can.
Yeah, you go racing up the walkway. You look down the alleyway. You don't see a Traumaton anywhere. But at the bend of the alley, like it goes deeper in behind the buildings, you can see what looks to be a humanoid form on the ground. About 30 feet into the alleyway.
Just to be clear, is anybody coming with me, or am I just going alone in the dark alley?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
everyone's
running,
starting
but
to
I'm
be-
following behind you.
Yeah.
They kind of follow you there. And all four of you now at the entrance of the alleyway. 30 feet into the alley before it turns a hard right, you can see a humanoid form lying on the ground. You can see what looks like a pool of blood on the ground as well.
I'll stop and take a look at the body.
Okay. Are you guys all going into the alleyway?
I'll stay at the exit of the alley in
Okay.
case.
You stay at the exit.
I'll go.
Thorn and
You know what? I'm gonna stay with Melody, actually.
okay.
I'll go in with
So-
Thorn.
Okay, so Melody and Karina stay at the entrance of the alleyway. Eritrea and Forn, you go up to where the bend of the alleyway is. A Traumaton, you can see now two figures. You recognize Eritrea and you recognize Forn as they come around the bend of the alley to look, and they seem to be looking down at the humanoid form. You guys also see about 60 to 80 feet down the long alleyway, you can see a Traumaton who's now approaching the two of you.
What the hell, Trauma? What did
You
this
can also
poor
see a
human do?
goblin that's been pierced through the chest, hanging over a doorway threshold as well.
What
Bro,
the
you-
hell did you do?
Something to do with this?
not with that body.
I don't believe
But the
that.
other
And like
one-
the right side of its like metal form is splattered.
Yeah.
In like gore.
You
I
might
do
want to
think-
wash off before we go
Yeah, I
anywhere.
take out like some cloth and I start to wipe them down a
You
little
start
bit.
wiping all the goblin guts off of a Traumaton. I love
I'm
it.
gonna look at the corpse though and like see if I can see what killed it or if it's got anything on it.
Yeah, give me investigation as you examine it. Karina, what are you doing?
Oh, I just wanted to do an investigation to see if I get a sense if this is a trap of some kind.
You can give me an insight check or investigation. That's fair.
That was a nat 20 for a 23 on that investigation for the
Nice.
body.
And that was a nat 1, so that's a
Yeah.
6.
Yeah, as far as you can tell, it looks like a perfectly normal alleyway interaction to have where there's
If
a
it
corpse.
wasn't a trap, it is now.
Well, I feel safe. I start going.
Yeah. Like you and Melody are like looking out into the streets, like at the edge of the alleyway.
We're
Well,
spies. We're
Well,
spies.
Eritrea and Ford are over the body. But I'll say, Karina and Melody, you notice that a Traumaton comes, rolling up to where Foreign and Eritrea are. For you, Foreign, the body looks like the body of a baker. They've got a chef's apron on. Their hands are covered with like the residue of flour. They smell like ash and baking bread. Human male, maybe in their 50s or 60s. Not sure why he's here, but all of his pockets have been turned out. He doesn't seem to have anything on him of any particular value.
Can I tell? Can I tell what killed him? Like, was he
It
stabbed?
looks like 3 knife strikes in the side. Like someone came in and ribbed him 3 times in the ribs.
Does any of his uniform, does it indicate that he worked at a specific place or with a specific company or anything like that?
Ooh, give me an investigation check on that one as you examine his clothing.
This poor fella. He doesn't belong here.
10.
10.
Yeah.
No labels, no markings, nothing of any particular note. But if he is a chef or baker, if you find an area of the Smolder Spire that specifically, maybe manages industrialized food or does huge, vast amounts of food production, he might be a part of something like that.
Trauma, do you see a barrel or something around here that we could put this fella in? I'd like to get him back to wherever he came from, but this is such a poor way to go out for someone who, for all intents and purposes, looks to have no nefarious reason to be down in this alley.
Suggestion. Goblin mentioned a crusher unit arriving to help hide the body. We should wait for that. Deceit. We should wait for that unit to arrive. Question it. Perhaps it will be more forthcoming with the goblins.
Well, I do believe I like that idea. I'm going to start looking around now. Is there a way that I can get up above this location in the alley?
Looking around, give me a perception check as you start glancing at the buildings and the structures.
That's 16.
16. These are large warehouses for storage.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to give everyone a heads up right now. There's like massive thunderstorms going on around me. So if power goes out, we might have to, reboot or something like that. But just to give everyone a heads up. Remember, I'm in Southern California. I liked how Melody looked out the window.
Looks fine here.
Really?
Looks great. 70 degrees. Feels awesome.
Windows I hate you guys so much right now. Just pure, unadulterated envy. There's these warehouse structures have back doors, like, just very kind of convenient ways to go into other back ends of these warehouses. It's a narrow alley. I mean, with you and Automaton and Eritrea gathered around this body that you've discovered, and with Melody and Karina around down at the entrance of the alley. The alleys are only about 5-6 feet in width, but they're very tall because of the way the warehouses are structured.
Yes.
There are gutter spouts, these iron pipes that run from the roof down the sides of these buildings and kind of arc into these grates and gutter water kind of control areas in the alleyway. You get the feeling that you could probably climb the gutter spouts to get up onto the roof, but there's no like definitive kind of like second floor or really any windows either. The only windows you could see are at the top of the roof line, these thin kind of 3 feet long, 6-inch tall windows just to kind of vent air and let basic light into the building structures.
All right, yeah, I'll go to try and shimmy up one of those gutter spouts just to get up on the roof.
Okay. Give me acrobatics or athletics, your choice.
Probably acrobatics, yeah.
Okay.
That's a 7, though.
Okay. Eritrea, you watch as Foreign gets halfway up the gutter spout. It immediately breaks off, bends, but the top of the gutter spout slams into the other side of the alleyway, leaving Foreign kind of hanging 10 feet, 12 feet up in the air.
I'm going to run underneath him and let him. I'm going to offer to try to catch him.
One second, friend. I'm gonna like try and loop my leg up over it to rescue rescue the situation.
Okay. Give me another acrobatics or athletics check as you do that.
I am falling. That's a 1.
So you watch it. Foreign puts his leg over it, and as soon as he shimmies his leg, the pipe snaps. But instead of letting go of the pipe, he holds onto it like somehow it's going to help him, and it swings him down and through the wall of the opposite warehouse. The wooden wall shatters inward, and you lose sight of Foreign as he goes tumbling backwards and in, and you hear this. Foreign, take 10 points of bludgeoning damage.
Oh, brutal.
Ball.
hell of a fall.
Well, I
I'm
seem to have it under control.
This is why you always wait at the end of the alley.
I mean, yeah.
While they wait here, I know people weren't into that idea before, but do we want to try and you make the most out of this time by also splitting up and going to see the Genasi? Especially if we don't want to be here past sunset.
Yeah, we can
You
head
two are
up
at the end of the alleyway. The other three are
We're
further
in the
down
alley.
and out of earshot and
Oh,
eye shot.
You're just having that conversation with Melody, like, should
Yeah.
we just bail on these guys?
Yeah.
yeah. Looks like they have it under wraps. I don't know how we can possibly help in this situation.
It seems like it's it's progressing the way it's progressing, and should I just shout down the alley? What's taking so long? Can we leave? Ticking clock here.
Tick tock, tick tock.
Strict sundown curfew.
I'll
Well,
leave it up
I
to you
kinda
guys.
go
What do you do?
I go over to Foreign and
So Arturo, as you go over to the hole that he launched himself through the wooden wall, you look through the broken wall, and there's Foreign about 10 feet into the warehouse on his back, looking up at a darkened ceiling. He's surrounded by crates, barrels, and stacks of linen bags all around him. He seems to be in some kind of large warehouse. Give me a perception check as you look into the warehouse and you're staring down at Foreign.
6.
Dude, what is going on?
I might start rolling real die. I gotta.
You know what? Do me a favor. Roll a real die and let's do a compare. If you roll another 1 or 2 or 6, then you've got the Will Wheaton curse.
I got dirty 20.
Let's go with the dirty 20. That feels more. Let's switch from the horrible algorithm of D&D Beyond to the more
That's just
chaotic
real
possibilities of physical dice.
Blame
Yes.
it on 5.5e, right?
Yes.
As you look at Foreign and you take a glance into the warehouse, everything in this warehouse is filled with the ingredients for baked goods: flour, sugar, molasses, like barrels of molasses. You can see huge crates that are filled with finished bread products and other kind of food products that would be baked. This feels like a large warehouse filled with baked goods and the ingredients for baked goods.
Are there any specific markings on these boxes that give me an indicator of where they came from, who makes it?
Because you were on the platform earlier, you would recognize the painted stampings of House Mason.
Kind of first, like, I noticed this, but my real concern is to make sure Foreign's okay. So I kind of go over to him. Hey,
Step over the edge of the ruined wall into the warehouse.
just making a quick check on you, Foreign. It looked like quite the tumble you took.
All this damned flour and bread, and I hit every crate in the building. Oh. He like kind of sits up and dusting the flour off him. It's just making a big ruckus of flour all over the place.
Just hear a faint echo from outside. Did the annoying one die?
You hear it back in your head.
Well,
Nope.
Well, Asmar, I have healing hands. I know it's not much, but once a day, I could just lay my hands on you. You get hit points equivalent to my level, so I'll at least give you a little bit of.
Well, just hold off on that for now. I'll be all right.
You
at the
sure?
moment. Yeah, we had a good breakfast. Remember, so
All right.
I have a little bit of belly full there that helped me absorb a little of that.
Foreign, give me a perception check as Eritrea helps you up off the floor. Automatron is at the ruined wall that you had broken through. Give me a perception check as you stand up and look around the warehouse.
Yep. That's 16.
16. In the middle of the warehouse is a table. Actually, there's 2 or 3 tables that you can see. One of the tables seems to have a lot of parchments and other things kind of spread out on it. The other 2 tables appear to have these. One of them appears to be like a distillation setup, almost like you would see in a distillery. And then the other one seems to be filled with small copper barrels of what could be liquid.
What is that? And I would like to stealth towards those. I'll say that, and then it's kind of one of those like, oh, I should probably be loud.
Yeah, give me a stealth check as you kind of approach it, and then kind of cautionary, just kind of like slow down a bit before you rush towards it.
That's 16.
16. Passing past Eritrea, heading over to one of the tables. Eritrea, what are you doing?
I want to. I'll poke my head out of the wall, and I'm gonna like kind of call for Trauma to come over with us.
Okay.
And check this out with us. So, Mr. Trauma, sir, can you please come with us? This is a little bit interesting. We might have figured something out.
I would imagine Trauma like wrecks the remainder of the wall, so you had to like just get through to the other side. Unit will comply. Like just as Ford's trying to be quiet, just smashes through the wooden wall. Or at least the alley cat is currently riding Trauma into battle at this point.
Alley cat? This is the most painful one I have.
Trauma, do you go into the warehouse?
Thorn's still listening to me, and I'm just going to kind of, say into the, just say it's like, I thought we were waiting out here for the other unit.
Oh, that's right. You have your new voice box, so you don't sound like your other self.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they got real hard on my voice for a while. Thought I could maintain that. I cannot maintain that.
I kind of have a game question. Am I or the rest of us privy to the token Foreign has in Trauma's head?
I mean, he hasn't been secret about it. Like he's
the one that he has.
Yeah.
Well, because remember he tried to knock it out of my mouth, and I just pulled it out and gave it to him.
That's I just wanted to confirm. Cool.
Oh, also, I have one of Thorn's teeth. No,
Nope,
sorry,
you gave it to your buddy.
Yeah, okay. Actually, this is very convenient. It's kind of like a phone, so I do think.
Well, it's only a one-way phone, though. I can talk to you.
So, Trauma, do you go into the warehouse where Eritrea is calling you to come into?
I don't. I want to kind of. I know I'm not exactly inconspicuous, but I'm going to try to. I'm a big boxy form, so I kind of press myself into the wall of that warehouse, and then just enter kind of my standby mode as I wait for the other unit. So I'm not doing anything. I just want to make it look
right.
When they're, I'm just a pile of robot.
So Melody and Karina, at this point, you thought you heard a noise coming from the alleyway. You've lost sight of all 3 of them, and the body's still in the alleyway, but you've lost all sight of Foreign, Eritrea, and Automaton. And it's just the 2 of you at the alleyway entrance now.
Well, we did say we would meet them in the auction. Do you want to go in there and find them, or do you want to go meet the Genasi while we still have time?
Yeah, I mean, why don't we just go and meet the Genasi and we'll just shout down the alley that's where we're going.
Okay. Maybe just to be on the safe side that nobody is like listening to us.
Trot down the alley and
Yeah, maybe let's just go in there real quick. Let them.
So as the two of you go down the alleyway, there's the body of the baker at your feet. There is a collapsed gutter spout in the alleyway, a huge broken hole that a Traumaton is half wedged into. And there's Eritrio's head kind of poking out. Eritrio, you see Melody and Karina kind of come around the corner, and the three of you are kind of like within 10 feet of each other.
What are you boys doing?
I did not have anything to do with, and then just kind of point to this.
Just pointing at them.
Yeah. I understand that may be difficult to believe, but in this case, it's just like kind of, goblin do us, what goblin do us, what goblin.
Okay. So body on the ground. We've pushed a hole through a wall. Baking supplies. What's the plan?
Well, you wouldn't believe this interesting development. There's something. This dead man, we don't think did anything wrong, but he's probably affiliated with what's going on in here because he apparently is a baker of sorts. Now, what we want to figure out is if there's anyone trying to maybe tamper with this Mason house, and if he has something to do with that. The dead man.
I mean, it sounds like an interesting mystery, but unfortunately, this fire is full of unsavory sort of things that happen. We do, yeah, the savory part was a pun. We can certainly follow this, but I'm just concerned about my personal responsibility towards what's happening to my house right now. So I vote on, or for myself, I need to go follow that lead so I can figure out what I can do to help them as soon as possible. I mean, I don't know if there's a ticking clock on this. I don't know what's going on. But I also understand if you guys have somehow managed to get embroiled in another mystery within the last 5 minutes, which is pretty impressive. If I know
that you guys do is pretty impressive.
If it's okay, I wouldn't mind. Do you have any like extra fingernail clippings or something I can take with me to be able to? And once you guys know what's going on, maybe you can just let me know where to meet you. But I would like to go talk to the Genasi earlier rather than later.
He takes out a braided token and tosses it over.
Thank you.
But it's all quiet because I'm still like trying to be stealthy over at the table.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
you're talking, and I'm just like.
But yeah, thank you guys so much for helping me so far. I do have to focus on this. I don't know what's going on, and I really need to hurry with this.
I'll come with you. Eritreo, Trauma, do you want to stay here or do you want to come see Sarai?
I think I would. I believe I would like to stay here. The whole notion of an innocent dead man has really left me bothered, and I would like to get a little bit more information on this because we cannot continue to let things like this happen.
You see Trauma just turn his head to look at Eritrea and just be like,
The opposite ends of that.
Just diametrically opposed.
So as the three of them stay, Melody and Karina, you find your way back out of the alleyway. And based on the previous information you got from the orc merchant, you find the walkways that are attached to the spire, and it takes you up to the next level. Once on the next level, these feel more like crafter shops, and not places that you can buy things from, but crafter buildings. Like they have names like Emporium or Warehouse 72, or they have all these weird kind of identifier names with no obvious sense of ownership. The two of you can give me either investigation or perception as you try to find Sarai's location.
I'll give the help action to Karina on investigation.
Thank you.
That's you.
Okay, the first one is 11. Can I use real dice? I feel like something's wrong with the.
You can always use real dice. That's
can
never
always
been a
use real
problem. I prefer people
Do
use
it
real
instead.
dice.
I feel personally cheated by this roll.
The algorithm, I can tell you this much, has not been very good in D&D Beyond lately. It's been
It's
pretty awful ever since they released the 2024 rules.
a personal agenda against all of us. The true villain. Okay, 17 plus 5. That's 22.
You actually have advantage because Melody's helping you. So you can
Oh.
roll again if you want and see if you get a higher number.
22 will have to do.
Okay.
I'm not helpful at all. I'm like walking in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Pulling me back.
Two, you're going across the walkway up on the next level above. As you're walking along these warehouse fronts, Karina, you smell like a weird kind of oil and flame smell. And you notice that there's one particular warehouse that has a bronze door, a couple windows in the front of it that are open, like the shuttered windows are pushed out and open. And there's like smoke coming out of the windows, and there's like a heavy kind of smell of charcoal and oil and kind of chemical smell. And there, above the doorway entrance, there's, kind of carved into a bit of wood, a kind of like a kind of flame symbol, and like an S and a T kind of in the flame symbol. This feels like this might be the place that the orc merchant was talking about.
This looks promising.
Yeah. Do we want to do just a quick perception or investigation to see if there's like anything that we should be alerted of?
If you want, go for it. You can give me either or.
I'll do investigation.
Okay.
And if
Help
you,
again. I got a -1, guys. I'm not helpful in investigation.
19 plus 5.
All right.
Suddenly, dice rolling seems to be paying off. 24. The front of the building is actually decently kept up, better than some of the other ones on either side of it. It's a 2-story structure, or maybe a single-story structure with a high roof line. The windows are open. You kind of peek through the window, and you can see these braziers, these large braziers, kind of spread out on the inside. And on top of each of these braziers are these huge black cauldron pots. Hanging above each of the cauldrons, you can see these copper vats that some kind of oil or something is kind of distilling out of. You can see all this copper piping running through. And you're just staring at this, like either a distillation process or something that's like making some kind of liquid that you're not really sure. But you hear a very lilty kind of brusque voice. Pardon me, is there something I can help you for with? What? Who are you and why are you in my shop window?
What was the name of the guy who sent us?
Illithrin.
A friend of yours sent us.
Friend of mine sent you. And who? I have many friends. Who sent you?
I would rather not scream his name out loud here. Would it be okay if we told you outside of your door?
I suppose. You lose track of her. The door has a heavy clicking, grinding sound. The bronze door gets pushed open. She comes out into the alleyway. Well, what is it I could do for you two? Oh my, a satyr. Haven't seen many fae around for some time. sorry about your homeland. Anyways, what can I do for the two of you?
Lilthrin sent us.
Oh, Ilthrin, how is that old bugger? Good friend, good friend.
He's doing great. He gave us a lot of fireworks.
Oh,
Really
he is.
guy.
Well, that is part of what I make. I make a liquid powder for the purposes of explosive componentry. I
Really?
recently acquired a rather substantial order for it, and that's what I'm currently working on. You know what? She looks around the alley. Come, let's have a drink and talk. If Ilthrin sent you, I can certainly trust a conversation with you. Come on. And she kind of hustles back into the warehouse, kind of pulling the two of you with her. She closes the door, guides you over to a little kind of like table with some stools around it. And she picks up this heavy wax-coated bottle with a picture of like a bird and a butterfly on it. And she pours this really heavy kind of cordial liquid into these 3 cups and kind of pushes a cup in front of each of you. And she takes one and cheers, and takes a quick sip of it and goes, so why did Ilthrin send you to me? What purpose?
He thought you might have some information. We found these, and I'll pull it out of the bag. Found this really beautifully cut diamond. We actually found a bunch of them. We're curious if you knew anything about them. You said you were a great craftsman and made things like this.
May I see it for a moment?
Certainly.
She takes it from you, puts a loop in her eye, and well, that is very strange. Someone had come to me a couple of weeks ago, with a large bag of these diamonds.
Really?
I assessed and quantified them for this individual, which they did not share their name with me, and he said that he needed them in a hurry. So I did it on the spot for him. He gave me the coin for the assessment and then moved on his way. These are infusion stones. They are cut from diamonds in a very particular way to hold an amount of arcane energy or power. They are then adhered or placed into objects and items that are well crafted to give them magic outcomes, the ability to be magical items. From time to time, I do dabble in that, although lately I have been making a good deal of coin in the distillation of explosive material, and that's what I've been focused on. But yes, I believe this is even one of the ones that I had checked when they brought me the bag of diamonds.
Do you remember what the man looked like? We're trying to figure out, these are just lost diamonds. We're trying to figure out who to get them back to.
No, that's fair. That's fair. He was bald with a goatee, a white goatee. Strange pale blue eyes. But he was wearing just kind of normal vestments of a commoner, nothing out of the ordinary. Although he did speak with a bit of authority and affirmation of authority. He did not give me his name. He says it was too dangerous for me to do that. And if I am told it's dangerous, I believe it to be dangerous. So I assessed them, gave them back to him, told him what they were used for and how their quality was. He said thank you, and then he was off to meet another person in regards to them.
Do you know who he was off to meet?
No, he only mentioned that a partner or a person that they were meant to meet and trade with. They did not give more specific than that.
These diamonds sound like they must be extremely valuable, but they're not like illegal or anything, right? They're just like
diamonds in that volume would have a very heavy tax. Everything brought into the spires, the Chandei Quorum expects their fair share of the tax. I suspect this individual was avoiding the trade houses as well as the tithe keepers in an effort to avoid the tax. By me doing the assessment for him, he could at least quantify his conversation with whoever his contact with. He paid me 100 gold coin for my work, so he clearly had wealth. But no, a volume of diamonds of that would be excised and would be taxed heavily by the Chandei Quorum, for sure. My guess is he was smuggling them into the city.
Oh, really interesting. But you said you don't even work on diamonds very much anymore. You're working on distilling explosives. What are people using that for?
Yes. Well, I don't really know, to be honest with you.
Really?
I had, I want to say about a month ago, a very unusual person I'd never seen before. A big, well, they were definitely Marquesian, but they're very heavy suntanned and dialect and features. Long black hair, no facial hair, but partially tattooed, neck and chest, wearing very hardened leather armor, but had that look of someone from the Hellcatch Valley. I was not interested in their name, to be honest. They said that they had acquired a new formula for creating a liquefied black powder. They called it fuel powder. And they need it for their equipment that they use in the Hellcatch Valley. These large mechanical contraptions that they use to get around the Hellcatch. I think he mentioned Bassaras. I believe he was from the city of Bassaras within the Hellcatch Valley. And he ordered, they do not have the equipment to distill the formula that they had acquired. Took a look at the recipe and formula. I was able to replicate the process, showed him the first batch of the outcome. He immediately paid me for 250 barrels of this liquid powder.
Wow.
I've managed to accomplish 20 barrels so far. It will take some weeks for me to finish the order.
Yeah, that seems like a huge order. That must take months.
Well, he paid half up front, so even if they don't take possession of the inventory, I, at the very least, break even, and I have access to this amazing new substance. Would you like to see what it does?
I'd be so curious.
Oh, this is amazing. She goes over to one of the finished barrels. She takes off the lid. Got to be very careful. And she takes out a wooden spoon and dips it into the black kind of liquid that's in the barrel. And it's a spoon that's maybe about the size of a coin volume, right? She goes over and she picks up a little curio, a little statue. She gently puts the liquid, the liquid remains on the top of the curio. She holds it there. You have to let it dry for a few moments. It hardens almost like a wax. She goes, watch. And she throws it towards the back of her warehouse, like a good 30 feet, all the way to the back where these or not hay bales, but like sandbags would be, where these large sandbags are. And you can see little char explosions that are back there. And when it hits, it just explodes. Like a 10-foot radius of flame, smoke, and the statue's fragments kind of patter around you, around your feet, and kind of clack around you. Oh, I must have used too much. Sorry about that.
Oh my gosh.
Can you imagine an explosive that doesn't require flame but goes off strictly off impact? I was astounded that this person had this formula. They did not seem too concerned with me copying the formula as well, as upon delivery of the 250 barrels, he was expecting to require at least 1,000 more barrels of this distillation. Unfortunately, the ingredients, while some are quite common, there's one particular ingredient on it called quicksilver that is very difficult to get. It is the hardening and kind of impact activation portion of the chemical. And I'm currently trying to find ways to either find this quicksilver, purchase it, or find a means of coming across it.
Where does it come from?
I have no idea. I had recently purchased just enough to do the first 20 barrels. I'm now distilling another 5 barrels worth, but unless I find more quicksilver soon, I will not be able to finish this order. And merely have to take the hit and sell what I can, and maybe offload the black powder onto someone else. But yes, that is one of my problems that I'm suffering from right now.
Have you seen this symbol before? And I draw out the symbol we saw on the barrel earlier.
Yes, House Treshy. No, that is House. Yes, that's House Treshy. I'm familiar with that one.
Do you know if they've been buying any of this powder?
No, not to my knowledge. This stranger that approached me is the only one that seemed interested in making this liquid powder for their use.
Have you heard of anybody buying any equipment or parts for clockwork machinery?
She kind of strokes her chin for a minute and thinks, not to my knowledge. It's not really something that I dabble in.
Thanks. One last question.
You say that a lot.
Well, the first time I've said it to you.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
A friend of ours has told us about a certain figure that has recently been seen around here, and he seemed really concerned about it. We're kind of afraid that we might be entering something that we don't want to touch on account of this person. So out of curiosity, have you heard the name Regina Green before?
Regina Green. Not particularly. What business is she in?
It appears she's just an artificer, but when we've mentioned this to this person, who we're not going to mention their name, they just seemed a little scared, and we're just trying to kind of make sure.
Did this Regina Green have any relationship to Iltherin?
No.
Oh, okay.
Melody starts to nod and then stops when
Yeah, Melody, give me a deception check if you would, please.
Okay.
Karina's really good at lying. You are not very
I'm
good at
actually pretty decent at lying. I have but that is a 2. That's
a 2.
Sorry.
Sarai kind of looks at you and then you look away, and then Sarai looks back over at you, Karina.
Well, we were trying to.
Either way, it's fine. If it's none of my business, then it's none of my business.
I mean, you're a friend of his, so we know that we can more or less trust you with it. But yeah, he heard her name somewhere, and he seemed a little scared about that. And we certainly don't want to enter anything that's beyond our capabilities.
Well, did he give you any information about who Regina Green is, or did he just simply get concerned and fearful?
He got a little fearful. He just mentioned that she sometimes deals with antiques and the such that just kind of have certain bad seeds attached to them.
I mean, if Iltherin knows who this person is, I know that Iltherin does a lot of business with the Greymakers from time to time. Perhaps this person is connected to them. I don't know.
The Greymakers, don't they have an auction coming up?
I believe tomorrow evening, yes.
Do you ever go to the art auction?
Oh, yes, often. Their artworks are amazing. They're almost lifelike to a certain degree. They're the statues, the copper statuary, the forms, the paintings. There have been times where I swear that the painting is almost screaming in terror at you. Or crying. I don't know. It's very strange. Very strange.
Well, actually, I am a bit of an art collector myself, so I've been meaning to go there. Do you have any connections or advice for somebody on the lookout for some good arts?
Or
no,
do you want to come with us? Because we're going to dress up and we're going tomorrow night.
No, I've got to work on finding more Quicksilver. But I can tell you that a lot of the purveyors of artworks and those that lead the many houses within Jrusar will be there. It is, how should we say, status. Art is always status. Whoever owns the best, possesses the best art. It helps their status amongst the other houses.
Are there any specific paintings with high status that are rumored to be available at that auction?
Not that I know of, but what I can tell you for certain is that there is a particular individual that likes to go there often. She goes by the name of Lady Montclair. She is the wife of Lord Callan Valeros. He is the High Arbiter of the Chandei Quorum. She likes to spend his money quite liberally.
Good lady. Well, while we're here, do you have any sales that you would like to show some, new friends?
Oh, I appreciate that. No, I, all of my inventory has been dispersed already. I am focused on making more of this liquid distillation of explosive. I don't really have or possess anything I think of value to either one of you. I mean, I think the only thing I have left in inventory is alchemy fire. Other than that, I don't have much else.
That's fair. Well, maybe another time then.
Perhaps. Well, thank you for the drink and the conversation. Good luck. And she kind of guides you towards the door and back out onto the walkway outside of her building. Let's take our 5-minute break, and when we come back, we'll do the second half and go see how the other three are doing.
We're fine. Totally fine.
Next time I'll mute you so that people don't have to listen to you crunch.
Nah.
I can
Well.
come back, all I hear is
You know. I fixed my avatar though.
much better. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope StreamYard in the future will make it so that you can place the avatar through the whole panel of the box, not just in that little circle.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I had submitted that as a potential ticket for future development. I think it'd be a lot cooler to be able to do that.
When you were doing the graying lens, was that also through StreamYard or no?
Trying to remember.
Because one of the guys had like a character avatar that was moving and everything.
Oh yeah, that was Abraxas.
Mhm.
I was using StreamYard for that, but he was using a separate software tool
Mhm.
for it.
Okay.
And I don't remember what it was, but it allowed him to build his own backdrop avatar behind him,
Mhm.
and the face of the avatar would actually mimic as he talked.
Right. Yeah. That's
I
what I
haven't thought
remember. I was
about-
like,
I
that
haven't
was,
thought about
that
that
was
group in
cool.
a while. That's awesome. Good memory.
yeah, they were a fun group to listen to.
Yeah, they were pretty funny. Lunatics all.
Mhm.
So while Karina and Melody wrap up their conversation with Sarai, Foreign, you approach the table, and there's a couple things you immediately notice. You can hear Eritrea and Atraumaton saying goodbye to Melody and Karina as they go off to seek out the Genasi, and you over by the table. The table with all the parchments on it, there are clear signs that somebody with a lot of flour on their hands was interacting with the parchments. The other table seems to be built as a distillation of some kind of liquid. And then the third table is stacked with these copper small kegs on the table. As you see the parchments on the table, go ahead and give me an investigation check.
Okay. That's 10.
10.
Yep.
They seem to be notes and schematics of ingredients, compounds, different things to be put together to make something. And while you're not really sure what they mean or understand the intent of the information that you're seeing, on a lot of the documents, there's a reference to Seraphis powder.
I'm going to try and roll up all the documents and kind of stuff them in the pockets inside my jacket.
Okay.
You said there's the distillation table and the bronze or brass kegs.
Yeah,
Like
there's a
little mini
table
keg?
with a bunch of small brass kegs, and there's a table that's been clearly set up for distillation.
I want to look at the brass kegs first.
Okay. Give me another investigation check.
Yep.
Or perception as you look at those.
Investigation, that's an 18, or perception, it's a 21. But investigation is looking like, what is it? Perception's kind of like, how many are they,
Just
right?
taking a
So
glance at it.
I would take the 18 for investigation.
Okay.
Because I'm trying to more like intently, what the heck is this stuff?
There's an engraved stencil of an arcane glyph on each one, of an arcane marking, not necessarily a glyph, but an arcane symbol on each one of the brass kegs. You pick one up and it's sloshy. It's got some kind of contents in it. There's also residue of like a pink-like powder on the edges of some of these brass kegs. Other than that, nothing of note.
How big are they?
There may be
Like a mug, or are we talking like big, like drink kegs?
like
size?
a pony keg. You know, like a
Okay, yeah. So
pony keg. Yeah, about that size.
okay. I'll before I try to make off with one of those, I'm gonna take a look at the distillation table. Then
Okay. Give me a final investigation check for that.
Ooh, That was a 17 plus 3, so that's a dirty 20.
You're doing 20. So Air Trio and a Traumaton, while Thorn is going from table to table, kind of looking through. You saw him gather up all the parchments off the one table, examining the other table, now focusing on the distillation table. What are you two doing with your time?
How large is this warehouse that we're in?
It's pretty good size. It's a single-story building, but the roof structure is very tall. And you can see that maybe it's about 100 feet deep and maybe about 40 feet wide. And other than the area that you guys are standing in, the rest of the warehouse is just stacked with all the ingredients for baking and then crates and crates of products from the baking, whether it's like cookies and breads and anything that would be a baked product, crackers and ration crackers and kind of like everything you'd expect to find that a baking facility would make and then store for the purposes of shipping or selling. And they're all marked with the House Maysoon kind of guild stamp on everything that you see here, both the ingredients and the crates of finished product.
Does it appear like it's been active lately, that someone's been in here working with, these barrels and all the different ingredients? Does it seem active, or it seems like this has kind of been abandoned for a little bit?
Give me your survival check as you begin to examine the floor, look at the door that's associated to the wall. Like where the wall was crashed through, like 5 feet next to that is a door. So it's like you got to backtrack to check the door and the floors around everything.
I got a 12.
12? There's definitely signs of footprints, especially since a lot of the linen sacks are filled with flour. So within the last maybe 3 or 4 days, about a dozen or so people have come and gone here, probably to offload or, bring the product into the warehouse. If it's been recent or not, it's kind of hard to tell.
More kitties.
Okay. Yeah, I've just been trying to get the attitude if something, it just all seems so suspicious with this one table that seems to have something else going on outside of what is normally in this. What's supposed to be going on in this type of warehouse?
Give me an insight check as you start thinking about everything around you.
21.
21. You go over to a couple of the crates. You look at the Maysoon insignia. You go over to one of the linen sacks. They're poorly stenciled on. They're not stenciled very well. This has all the hallmarks of like a counterfeit. If House Maysoon does a marking, it's usually quite well established and well marked. These feel rushed and poorly stenciled. There's some tabaxi vibes going on there, Traumaton.
Team it.
Now, that tail hit you like twice in the face. It was great.
She missed the first time, but the
How
second
does it
time
feel?
right in the nose.
How does it feel, huh? How does it feel?
Who the fuck do you think was Spot's inspiration?
She's rolling better than us.
So true. So true.
Oh. Hey, you a co-pilot down there, or you want to keep bothering Dad?
So, Foreign, as Air Trio is kind of examining the warehouse, Traumaton, are you still kind of lingering in the alleyway and where the broken door or wall is to keep an eye out for
I'm still
whatever this
kinda keeping an eye
crusher
out.
is that they mentioned?
Do I notice anything? Because I was assuming just the way they described him that I'm looking for another large warforged or perhaps somebody with.
Yeah, give me a perception check as you remain kind of keeping eyes on the alleyway.
Do you think my perception's garbage? Oh, almost floor dice. That is a 17.
17. The body is still in the alleyway. No sign of the goblins, and no sign of anything else taking an interest in the alleyway yet.
All right. I'm going to kind of scooch into the opening a little bit, like try to make it so that I can kind of like rotate my head and look inside, maybe get Eritrea and Foreign in my vision if possible, but also kind of keep a presence outside so that I can, if anything, if I can
kind of position yourself to keep an eye on both areas that you're near. Gotcha.
Try to keep an ear on one and an eye on the other.
Yeah. Foreign, what'd you get for that investigation check of the distillation table?
It was a dirty 20.
Dirty 20, that's right. Everything about this table is all the distillation equipment is metal, copper and brass. And you find more notes, and these seem to be actual ingredient notes for this stuff called Seraphis powder. It seems to start off as a liquid, and then it is dried and crushed into a pinkish powder. And the notes seem to call it... it seems to have a distinct influence over the personality of people that consume the Seraphis powder. And the notes on the table, it seems to require a very small amount, and all of the finished baking goods have been infused with this Seraphis powder.
Oh, hell. I'm gonna flip over the distillation table. Just crash all the. I'm gonna take the parchments and take them with me, but I'm gonna flip the table over onto the floor.
I need you and Eritrea to make wisdom saves as the powder goes everywhere.
Nice. Good work.
Whoops.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah.
Use real dice.
5.
I'm 22 or 20. Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. I will say because of the Warforged a Traumaton, Warforged have a immunity or a resistance to charm. I forget.
Give me a minute and I'll double check. If it's I have an immunity to disease and magical sleep and a resistance to poison.
Okay. Give me a wisdom save with advantage then.
All right, wisdom save with advantage. Scram rolling. All right, so that's a 15. 16, 1-6.
Okay. Eritrea and Traumaton, the powder affects the two of you differently. Eritrea kind of makes you cough, but you get a little lightheaded and dizzy from it. A Traumaton, your Warforged gearwork and internal workings kind of, you get this kind of euphoria experience as a Warforged, but it kind of fades quickly. But the two of you catch Forn amidst a huge cloud of this stuff. He lets out this huge cough, and he immediately begins to just kind of ballet around the warehouse. He's got this strange euphoric state on his face. He seems to be like hearing voices. And that goes on for about 5 minutes until he looks sallowed, exhausted, and very kind of like numb looking, almost like he's kind of stunned. Foreign, take 2 points of exhaustion, if you would, please.
Whew. Ow.
And you immediately, like after 5 minutes of this feeling of way more euphoria than you've ever felt, you come out of it, you've got like this huge downer, you're exhausted, and you're like coughing up the pink dust out of your lungs.
Stay away from the powder. Oh my god. Stay away from the powder. There's some kind of a psychoactive agent in the powder. Oh, mercy. Don't touch the powder. But I get the feeling, All these bacon goods are filled with this powder. Whatever just hit me. I was high as a kite. It was like being a child back in the Fae again. I was frolicking through the Feywilds. It wasn't real. I was talking to fairies. I was talking all kinds of things. I think I saw a couple Satyr. But now I'm not sure. But now I feel like shit. Stay away from the pink powder, friends. Oh my goodness. Whatever's in this... Who? Oh, I took the notes so they can't make any of this again, I hope. But whoever's dealing in this powder, what house is on these sacks?
It is the what is the Maysoon house. And I'll tell you, after poking around a little bit, I feel like we're in a little bit of a sabotage situation. I don't think Maysoon's the one producing this and putting this out there. Someone's trying to make it look bad.
I would say, my goodness, I would say if this is some kind of sabotage situation, we ought to find out where these baked goods are headed, or if we can, stop them here. But perhaps if this Crusher fella shows up, perhaps we'll know who he's working for, and maybe we'll find out where the tie binds all these together. Trauma, you seen any of your friends outside?
I just kind of scribble my head and see if I notice anything else coming.
Give me another perception check as you keep an eye out.
Come on. I don't think I have anything wrong. Yeah, I keep looking at my performance and persuasion, which are different. Nope, that is a 15.
Yep. So far, no one else has arrived. No one's come into the alleyway. No sign of any interest in the building or anything.
No interest yet.
I'm under the impression we should try to stop the flow of this. But how can we do that without being overly rash? Should we sabotage the saboteurs?
Well, rash is... There's nothing wrong with being rash. Would I know if any of these ingredients are flammable outside of the obviously flammable sacks of flour and stuff like that?
It's a wooden warehouse filled with crates and linen sacks.
Well, I mean but the material to make this powder, if anything with that was like immediately combustible kind of stuff.
I mean, looking around the warehouse space, it would take you a solid day to go through everything that's in here.
Oh no, sorry, I meant like at the tables, like where the ingredients to make the pink powder. If anything there was like flammable, or if it was just
there's lamp oil and other things like that to kind of keep the little braziers burning for the distillation process. But other than that, you're not really sure if any of that's flammable. Like nothing specific jumps out.
Friends, I have a terrible idea, but perhaps we should vacate the premises to get there.
You mentioned a terrible idea. How is this different from normal?
Melody, do you and Karina head back to where the three of them are?
We haven't. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say we also have the other Genasi that we need to see.
But she's not on this spire, right? Do you mean Solara?
Yeah.
She's on the Lantern Spire, do we think? Or do we think she's on the Smolder
She's
Spire?
where the she's located where the Fire by Spire is located.
Okay. So she's on the Lantern Spire.
No, Spire by Fire is on the core spire.
It's at the bridge between the two.
Okay,
Yeah.
she's on the core spire.
On the core spire, but at the bridge between the two.
Yep.
So yeah, I guess we should pick them up and go to the next location.
So I'll say as you two arrive at the alleyway, a Traumaton is standing guard, and just as you see a Traumaton, you hear Forn, "I've got a terrible idea."
Oh, right on time.
And the five of you are back together again.
Welcome back, ladies.
Actually, I'm
Oh.
gonna turn around and walk away.
And goodbye. I'm
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
call like I'm gonna call
it
out.
happens.
I'll call out. Head towards the gondolas. We may want to make a swift exit. And I'm gonna take the lamp oil and like spread it between and like lead a path, but like waving it over onto the some of the sacks of flour, but out towards the hole in the wall that we made.
Okay.
And just kind of trail it out to the hole in the wall and outside of the building a little bit.
That's fair.
Now, head out of the alley, fellas. I'm gonna start something here. We're gonna want to make a swift exit, okay?
I'm already out.
Well,
I want to before I run out of there. I want to try to rip a piece of like cloth on one of the bags that has the clearly forged Maysoon symbol. I want to kind of keep that as some sort of evidence of, hey,
Okay.
some
You take a blade and cut out a square, kind of like shake it off and fold it and put it in your pocket as you exit the warehouse. Karina and Melody back at the entrance to the alleyway with Arrow Trio in tow. Traumaton, you're watching as Foreign is going through the warehouse, dumping all of this lamp oil all over the internals of the warehouse.
Right. Was I in view, or was I able to absorb the? I know that I almost got poisoned by the powder, but did I kind of?
Well, it wasn't poison. It was it was kind of like a
You almost got a
hallucinogenic.
high.
Yeah, it was like a hallucinogenic.
All right, but did I see what it was that? God, I keep wanting to call you Earthen, but I saw what Foreign did to actually aerosolize that.
Well, the only thing you saw him do was flip over a table.
Okay.
And then whatever powder was finished on the table just kind of exploded into like a big kind of, you know how when you empty a vacuum bag, no matter how careful you are, that shit just gets everywhere. I kind of had that vibe when he.
I did say that the pink powder got me high as hell. Yeah, it made me feel like I was back in the bay.
So, while Foreighn's doing that, I'd like to kind of stealth over and just scrape as much as I can into a bag.
Just take one of them barrels. Take one of those kegs.
That works.
Okay.
So I'm gonna just start put together a decent collection of this hallucinogen, just to kind of have in my back pocket.
Well, they're not going to fit in your back pocket. You'll have to carry it.
It's a pony keg.
It's a large object.
Okay. I'm a big boy. I can deal with that. We can parcel it out later.
So you scoop up. So with Melody, Karina, and Atrero at the entrance to the alleyway that will take you back onto the main walkway towards the gondolas, you guys watch as a Traumaton now comes out of the alleyway with one of the copper kegs on his shoulder. He's kind of got it lashed onto his shoulder. He comes out, leaving Foreign to finish whatever he's doing in the warehouse.
I'll trail the oil out to the edge, and then I'm going to take my pistol.
Okay.
And I'll put one of the cartridges, like I'll open a cartridge in front of the lantern oil, and I'll set my pistol there, and I'll just blank fire it just to get the spark to strike it, to light the powder, to try and set the lantern oil and give me time to get out of the alley before it goes up in fire.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a sleight of hand for the timing.
Okay. That's the nat 20s. That's a 25, I think. Let me check my modifier. Yes, at 25.
You pull the trigger. There's a spark. It immediately sets the oil on fire. As you go to run out into the alleyway and to get a good distance away, give me acrobatics or athletics as you start running.
Alrighty. That's an 11 for acrobatics.
Okay. For all of you at the alleyway entrance and then looking off towards the gondola, you're not sure what happened, but as Foreign comes around the corner and starts running towards the four of you, the sound of the explosion is so massive that all the corresponding buildings near it are are immediately blown into pieces. This huge mushroom cloud. And for the four of you that are waiting for Foreign running out of the alleyway, I need you to make strength saves. Foreign, I need you to make a strength save with disadvantage as you feel the compression of the force wave slamming into you as you run out.
Okay, I need to know, for the purposes of blessing my dice, if I succeed in this, do I get to walk away in slow-mo with the barrel just slung over my shoulder, not looking back?
Sure.
Yay! Ooh, cool. Nat 20.
Nice.
Oh, I got a 9.
I got a 6.
I got a 9.
Hey,
What'd you get, Melody?
6.
Okay. Karina?
16.
Okay.
all right.
Traumaton, what'd you get?
Nat 20.
That's right. With your modifier. What is it with your modifier?
26.
Okay.
Ooh,
Damn it.
So as everything explodes around all of you, Foreign, you are thrown 50 feet through the alleyway, past Melody and Eritrea, and just as the force wave hits the four of them, Melody and Eritrea are then blasted with you out into the walkway to the point where you tumble across the walkway and you almost skid off the walkway and down to the 100-foot drop that would take you down into the jungle canopy. But you manage to tumble, and you lie stunned there for a moment as each one of you take 12 points of force damage and are currently stunned.
Form?
Woo! I'm
Well,
close. I'm not dead.
Karina, you kind of instead of running like they did, you duck away from the explosion to hide behind another building. And you watch as the force wave carries that building structure right over you. As you take half the damage, you only take 6 points of force damage as splinters and part of the compression wave catches you. Traumaton, you take 6 points of force damage as well, but you kind of because you're not knocked prone or stunned or knocked back, you kind of get pushed by the force wave slow motion with the container on your shoulder. And the others are spread out into the crowd, but with Karina and Traumaton still kind of on their feet, as you look around, there are dozens of workers and passerbyers that are just splayed out unconscious on the ground. You can see bodies have been thrown up in the air and just now landing. Almost 6 of the buildings were just annihilated, and another 8 buildings are now engulfed in heavy flame.
Oh my god.
holy cow!
So,
Well, I guess now we have a sense of what they were storing there.
You hear people screaming and yelling all around you. You see as a cadre of about a dozen wardens come running away from where the gondola area is. You then look to see a skiff, an air skiff, coming down towards the explosion. Somebody on its prow kind of directing a couple of the other air skiffs down towards the destruction as well. There's a lot going on. Atronton and Karina, your 3 friends are currently stunned and not moving. What do you 2 do?
Let's.
I'm glad you called me friends.
I feel like I feel like I could probably carry 2 of them. I looked it up. The keg I'm carrying should weigh about 90 pounds. I'm a big
Oh no,
guy.
it's a lot lighter than that. It's not that heavy.
Okay.
The keg you're carrying is probably 10 pounds.
Okay, you said it was a pony keg, which is 8 gallons. So.
Well, it's like those little. So those little store pony kegs, the mini kegs.
Oh, you're talking about the little 2-gallon things?
Yeah.
A
about
tiny
that
keg?
size.
Okay.
Yeah. It's more that size.
I thought you were talking about a full quarter barrel. I'm like, okay, that's a lot.
No, not that big.
Okay, so if that's the case, can I just kind of I have rope, so I could should I be able to just kind of pass it around maybe one of the barrel hoops and just tie it to my waist and just kind of pick up 2 of my unconscious
Yeah, who
companions?
2 do you want to pick up?
He's gonna kick
I
me
feel
off
like-
the ledge. It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, so if you can pick up Melody and Artreo, and then Karina will drag Foreign on the ground.
Just wake me up. Just like snap me awake, you know.
Yeah.
So, I definitely want to get. Well, let me ask you this: it's probably just going to be the first two that I see. So
That's going to be
if I'm-
Eritrea and Foreign.
Okay, so I'm definitely picking up Eritrea, and then I feel like I pass by Foreign and just go subtle, and then just kind of drag him behind me.
yeah, you're dragging Foreign, and you've got Eritrea across your shoulder. More Wardens are beginning to show up, and they're isolating some of the people, asking questions of some of the people. Karina, what do you do?
First of all, does anybody need Spare the Dying?
Looking around, there are dozens of people that look like they need Spare the Dying, but your
Okay, but
friends
people who
mostly
matter.
look stunned, not
Oh.
necessarily dying.
Okay.
Must be damn nice.
No, I take Melody. Yeah, can I carry Melody?
What's your strength?
Fireman carry man, come on.
Should be able to.
Plus
like you have a lot of
1,
equipment.
13.
Oh yeah, you're good. You scoop her up. She's kind of dazed. Her eyes are fluttering from the stunned effect of the explosion. She's muttering something about unicorns, clouds, and fey dragons. It's hard to follow. But you've got her across your shoulder, and you're currently following a Traumaton who's got Eritrea on one shoulder and like dragging the stunned body of Forn. The two of you kind of get over to the gondola area, and that's where you see the problems are only just beginning. More skiffs are arriving. You can see that the gondolas here are now being sent over to the other side. So there's no gondolas available for you to get back towards the other spire. You two look over to your left. There's one freight gondola that hasn't left yet.
All right. You said that. Will one of the skiffs fit on that freight gondola?
The skiffs are small airships.
Okay. All right. Because I was going to say, like, oh, this is an opportunity to maybe steal some transportation. All right.
Also, I'm gonna look for a chance where nobody is looking at me, and transform to Legolas. My
Legolas. Okay.
uncopyrighted Legolas character.
Oh, Legolas. The uncopyrighted version. Oh, you know what? That's definitely a D6 inspiration.
Oh,
That was pretty clever.
thank you.
That was good.
Yes, all of her characters are knockoff Lord of the Rings. Well,
Aracorn.
Aracorn.
I have Sour
Go
Ron,
off.
which is just like a very sour-faced guy named Ron.
Afrodo.
Yes, Grim Lee, which is just a goth,
Gremley.
a
love
goth
it.
dwarf, and a Bimbo Baggins, which is
Bimbo.
Bimbo.
No Afrodo.
wait, yes,
It's just a halfling with a giant fro.
yes, a very subtle.
Come on, man. It's obvious for me. It's like I'd be Bilbo Baggins, you know.
You know what? I'm gonna open for
Carrying the
suggestions.
one drug
Please,
to
all of
Mordor.
your Lord of the Ring knockoffs will be used wisely.
Grandolph.
So, and
Old lady.
so Karina, as you and a Traumaton are over on the gondola platforms, realizing the only one available is the freight gondola. Melody, Eritrea, and Foreign, y'all come out of your stunned state. They kind of set you down. You're kind of lightheaded and dizzy from the massive explosion. The fires are billowing up out of the building structures. You can see that the skiffs, there's about 4 of them hovering in the air about 50 feet. And you can see individuals standing on the prow. And a couple of those individuals are casting like a spell that's causing water to kind of gush out and on to the fires. The Wardens are busy kind of helping the unconscious, the dead. It's chaotic enough that no one's really paying attention to the 5 of you at this point.
I kind of shake my foot out of Trauma's hand. I'm all right. I'll like sit up, I'm bleeding all over, right?
You like
I'm
you
all
pull
right.
a splinter out of your neck.
It's just
Toss it
sprays all the
aside.
blood out. You know? Look, we got to get on one of these. We got to get out of here. There's a freight elevator, a freight gondola right there. Just come on.
Let's get out of here.
I
Yeah.
hobble. I'm hobbling to the.
I'm hobbling away
I'm
too.
dragging one leg.
Melody's gonna try and, if there are people who are knocked out nearby, she's gonna sprint around and just drop a point of lay on hands into 8 different people, just super fast.
Give me a charisma save, if you would, please, Melody.
21.
Nice. There is a person that looks familiar to you. The orc merchant. You rush over to see if he's unconscious, and he appears to be.
Mm-hmm.
But as you kind of like drag him over to treat him, you realize his lower half is gone.
Oh,
The explosion just outright just taking him out at the moment. And there's huge shrapnels and pieces of wood kind of like lying around. There's a moment where the trauma of this is reminding you of when you had that first emotional feeling of your sister being absent, like just this overwhelming urge, just this sudden kind of feeling of all this activity just begins to overwhelm you. And how something as simple as trying to find your sister has turned into this like disaster, this idea of getting involved with things that maybe you shouldn't be getting involved with. And that's when you look up to see there's dozens of other unconscious and bodies strewn throughout the different walkways. This was a very heavy, congested, and kind of densely packed place.
mm-hmm.
You watch as your other 4 friends get onto the gondola. You look across the way. Give me a perception check as well.
Okay. 21.
21. As the shock of all this is kind of overwhelming you, you look over to see a figure draped in a cloak. The hood is pulled up. They're going about checking on the bodies of some of the ones that are unconscious on the ground. They're about 30, 40 feet away from you and amongst the smoke and the dense packed crowd. There's a subsequent ancillary like explosion from the fires. It sends a shockwave down into the crowd. As the person turns at the shockwave and the crowd that's rushing by, you see your sister. You see her face, her horns. She's attending to one of the victims. But as the shockwave crashes through and the crowd crashes through, she's gone. You don't see her anymore.
I'm going to just start shouting her name like, Aria, Aria. I'm going to run towards where I saw
Yeah,
her.
you shout that out. You run towards it. You stop for a moment as the shockwave goes by. You stand there looking right and left. The smoke kind of billows across you. Give me another perception check as you yell out your sister's name.
It's a 20.
20. As you yell out her name, you kind of step into the smoke. There's flame and debris on the ground. You look to your right, and there you see your sister. Her cloak is down, like the hood is down. She's amongst the crowd. She's like lost in the crowd, like she's being pulled in the wake of the crowd. And the crowd's so panicked from the fire. You look to your left as you realize there's another massive explosion from the nearby warehouse. Just explodes right alongside you. Give me a dex save, if you would, please.
That's a 6.
6. Take 21 points of bludgeoning damage from the explosion.
I'm out.
The 4 of you look from the gondola, the freight gondola platform, to see Melody's body go flying 30 feet backwards, lands dead and broken on the ground. She doesn't appear to be breathing. Melody, give me a death save, if you would, please.
Okay.
What are the four of you doing?
It's a 3.
Trauma. We have to go get him.
One failure.
Yeah, I'm instantly sprinting back towards her.
You run into the smoke and the fire with the pattering of debris all around you. She is severely injured and on death's door.
Spare the dying when I get to her.
Okay. Cast Spare the Dying. She's no longer dying. She's stabilized. You scoop her up and go running back towards the gondolas. The other three were about to kind of follow you. And once again, you feel the shudder of the platform that you're on. And now you can hear people yelling and screaming to run. Like lots of people yelling out, run! And now huge crowds are coming out of the smoke and the fire. And there's a tremor on the platform. As you guys get onto the freight gondola, the entire platform collapses. The entire walkway platform just careens and cracks off the side of the spire, and huge chunks are falling and descending into the canopy. As the four of you are now on the freight gondola, you hear like a tension wire that's overstrained, and you hear it snap. And you feel the gondola in a free fall. Like a pendulum free fall that all five of you are on, and it's just coursing through the air, and it courses up and is now free falling back towards the destroyed side of the spire with huge chunks of debris falling towards the gondola. You watch as one large chunk of debris crashes into the gondola. You feel the main cable wire snap. And now the gondola is free falling down into the canopy of the jungle. It's in free fall. What do the five of you do? Melody is currently unconscious but stabilized. You got maybe 6 seconds before this gondola strikes the jungle canopy. This is where you stare at your character sheets and go, fucking storyteller. We just wanted a conversation with someone. We didn't mean to blow up the spire.
You know, I said it was a terrible idea, okay?
You probably should have checked what was in those kegs first before you lit the fire.
Well, I thought it was the pink stuff. So
remember I said it sloshed like a liquid.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I saw the pink stuff and I just intuited pink stuff. I'm not that intelligent. I'm
clearly not. You just blew up an entire level of the smolder spire at level 2.
So I'm going to Is
there anything?
Is the cable still close? Like we're free falling, but the cable's nothing? Okay.
No, it's just the gondola free falling down towards the jungle canopy.
I'm gonna bless everybody, including myself. That will make me use it twice.
Okay.
So everyone gets. You get an extra D4 and a saving throw, which I think we might need.
Okay. Yeah. You quickly kind of bless the group as the gondola continues to fall. Okay.
I know we're not in initiative. Can I want to see if I could rage and then just drop one of my flails and just kind of yell at everyone to grab onto the chain? Is there anything near us that I know we're in free fall?
As you look out part of the broken edge of the gondola, the first part of the canopy of trees are coming up towards you with heavy, thick branches.
Okay.
You get the feeling you might be able to wrap one of your chain flails like around the branches and tell everyone to like hold on to you and do like oh god, what was that movie where the train was going over the bridge and they were like climbing through the train? You get the feeling like if you could time it, maybe everyone holding on to you and you get your chain wrapped around the canopy branch, maybe you could time it in such a way that everyone holds on to you. You guys kind of get into the canopy and the gondola will continue to fall away.
Okay. That's
do those wings do anything, bird boy?
Not
doesn't have wings yet.
Not yeah. They're not fully formed yet.
I'm gonna pull out a rope and try and throw it out at the branches as we're coming down towards them.
Okay, Karina.
I'm gonna try and transform into. Do I know any like winged creatures or anything that would have an advantage in a situation like this?
I mean, unfortunately, changelings are humanoid shifters. The
They-
closest thing that you have a memory of because of your panache for getting out of tight spots is you do know about a creature called an Aarakocra, which when you turn into an Aarakocra, you'll have wings. And you would be able to carry at least one person in that form.
I'm gonna try and transform into Aarakocra.
Okay. Traumaton, give me a D20, like an attack roll. As you sling your flail over by one of the branches. Thorn, give me a dex check and add your dex modifier to it.
Okay.
All right. Do I need to add any modifiers to this, strength or anything?
Well, it's your attack roll. So whatever
Oh.
modifiers your attack roll would have.
Gotcha. Okay, so that's a 19, but let me see what my attack. I think my attack modifier is a +4. But let me look. No, it's
Okay.
+6.
I think you can. Can he add the bless +4 to that because it is a attack roll?
Yeah, D4. Yeah, you can add a
You can use a
D4 to it as
D4.
well.
All right, right now, well, with my attack modifier, that would be a 25. So
Okay.
I don't know if I need a +4 on that. Right
Well, the
now.
higher
So
the
find out.
roll, the more you might be able to accomplish. Thorn, what'd you get?
With the bless, it's a 15.
15. Okay. So, Atraumaton, you feel the chain snap around one of the branches. Thorn, you watch as your rope gets over and lashes onto a couple of the branches as well. You then watch as Karina turns into an Aarakocra and she uses the open side of the gondola. Now, because the three of you were successful in your plan, Melody's unconscious, and Arrow Trio doesn't really have a way to survive this fall. So the three of you are free to choose who you help and how you help.
All right.
I would call out
already-
Arena to help Melody.
Okay.
Like seeing the
Karina, you
person with
scoop
wings,
up
I'm
Melody
like,
and
yeah.
leap out of the gondola. Atraumaton,
I'd already yelled. Has Eritrea grabbed onto my other chain?
he can if he wants to.
Yeah, I will.
Eritrea, give me an athletics check as you hold on to the chain and you feel yourself about to be pulled out of the gondola.
Ugh. 1.
Whoa!
As you hold on to the chain and you feel Traumaton get sucked out of the gondola, it shreds through your fingers for 2 points of slashing damage. And you watch as a Traumaton leaves the gondola and is dangling from the branch. Foreign, you have an opportunity here, seeing Eritrea unable
Yep.
to hold on to the chain.
Can I try and swing over towards him, or
You haven't left the gondola yet.
Oh,
at this
okay.
point.
Well, I'm gonna
Yeah.
run over and kind of like tackle grab him with the rope in my other, like I've got my arm looped
Give
and wrapped
me
on the rope.
athletics or acrobatics check as you do that.
Okay.
Oh, let me ask. You said the chain slipped out of his hand. One of the things that I hope I made clear in earlier sessions is the flails are made out of my hands. Like, could I try to like extend that hand to see if he could grab?
You're
that
already out of the
with his
gondola
fingers?
at this point because it was so quick it pulled right out.
Okay.
That was you said acrobatics.
Or
That-
athletics, your choice.
Yep. So with the bless, it's a 17.
So, Eritrea, as you're watching a Traumaton just get out of reach of you, and you're like, oh shit, there's like blood coming off your hands. You just feel the wind get knocked out of you as Thorn like slams into you, grabs onto you. The two of you tumble out of the broken end of the gondola. There's a Traumaton hanging from the tree, and you and Thorn are hanging from your side of the tree. And there's Karina with her Aarakocran form holding on to the unconscious Melody. And all five of you watch as the gondola continues to plummet and disappears into the jungle canopy below. And eventually, like after a few seconds, you hear this like sound of an impact. Currently, three of you are hanging in the canopy of the tree, and Karina, you're holding on to Melody's unconscious form. What would
Grab
you guys
the
like
rope.
to do?
Grab the rope, bird boy. Grab the rope. Grab the rope. Yeah, please grab the rope. This hurts. Grab the rope.
I'm going to grab the rope too.
Yeah, Eritrea, give me an athletics check with advantage because you're both holding on to the rope.
16 for the first one, 2 for the next one, so 16.
But you got
Nice.
your +4 for bless, right?
Oh, and I
Or is
got
that
my +4 for bless. Good call.
You do.
what- It saved me on this.
So
But-
it's 17.
Nice.
So,
Like my arm is considered wrapped in this rope right now. Like would pull it out of socket if I stayed holding on to you. That's why I'm like, grab the rope, get off me, grab the rope.
are they are Foreign and Eritrea? Are they above or below me in the canopy?
Earthen. Who's Earthen?
That's a Foreign. If I
He
didn't,
said
I apologize.
Eritrea.
Oh, okay. I heard Earthen, man.
Yeah,
They are
above-
about 10 feet off to your right, hanging over a series of thick, tall canopy branches. So they're about 10 feet away from you.
Okay, are they higher or lower than me?
They're about even with you. You're both
Okay.
kind of ornament dangling there, kind of like just across the branches.
So I do want to kind of. I don't know that I'd really be able to control like my spin because I'm on a chain. I can't really do anything. But just kind of as I'm slowly twisting about, if I when Foreign comes into view, just so arson.
You gonna arrest me? Throw me one of them dangling arm things you got there. See if we can't get out of this.
So how do I feel about Eritrea? Because God, I want to punch him in the face. But don't do bad things. Oh wait, no, you're holding onto the rope, so sure, just kind of like fling my other arm at him.
So the three of you try to stabilize your position. Karina, you're slightly higher than they are by about 10 or 15 feet, holding on to Melody over your shoulder. Above you, you hear, and now you're seeing chunks of the spire tumbling down the side and beginning to slam into the canopy that you guys are currently trying to like use as a way to keep from falling further. Karina, give me a dex save as you start flying out of the way of the falling debris.
Would the dex in this form be different than my normal dex or the same?
It's still your stats. You just physically look like an Aarakocra. It's not like
forget-
druids where they take on part of their wild shape. For
Don't
changelings,
forget about the +4.
and you
plus
do have
shape.
the D4 on your dex save.
Yeah, D4. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, so I got a 17, and let's just add a d4. So an 18.
Atraumaton, Eritrea, and Foreign start giving me dex saves as well as you're watching Karina dodge something, and huge pieces of debris are now crashing into the canopy around you.
I got 15.
Give me a sec. I got a 14.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, because I have to add my modifier to that. So that is a 16. I apologize.
Okay. No, you're good. Foreign.
6.
6.
Oof.
Everyone else is holding on. You're concerned about everyone else, so you're not really paying attention as this chunk of debris slams into you for 9 points of force damage.
Well, my arm is wrapped in the rope,
Yeah.
but I'm hanging there unconscious now.
And at that point, all 5 of you hear a heavy dwarven voice. Hey, hold on. Give me a moment. And you watch as a skiff kind of balances itself along the 5 of you. A dwarf with about maybe 4 or 5 other people on it that look injured and kind of definitely suffering from the explosion up above. He goes, hold on, don't let go. And you watch as the skiff kind of saddles up underneath Karina first. Karina, you're able to kind of land on the skiff. He then guides the skiff over to a Traumaton and Eritrea, allowing them to let go of the rope, and then guides the skiff over towards Foreign. He kind of leans over the edge and takes out this huge kind of like blade and severs the rope. Foreign, give me a death save, if you would, please.
Yep. That's an 8.
8. That'll be 1 failure.
Yep.
As he pulls your unconscious and dying body on to the skiff, you watch as he turns, and there's this metal creature. And he yells at the metal creature at the helm of the skiff, Spindle, Get us the fuck out of here before more of these. Oh shit! You see like the shadow of a chunk, and Spindle, who's this wiry gizmo, kind of lets out this kind of like tinny voice. Yes, sir. Oh, and you feel the whole skiff kind of bank sideways. Foreign, your unconscious body rolls past Eritrea like it's about to roll off the deck of the skiff. Eritrea, what do you want to do to keep?
I'm gonna try to. Let me see if I got anything fun in my inventory.
I mean, you try to grab him if you want.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to grab him.
Yeah, give me athletics or acrobatics as his unconscious body is rolling past you.
Acrobatics. Oh fuck. 6.
A 6. You try to grab onto him, you miss. A Traumaton, you have an opportunity to grab onto Foreign as well if you want to. Otherwise, he's going to go off the edge and start falling down into the canopy.
Yeah, I feel like I kind of have to. So I wanted to kind of do what I was talking about with Eritrea and just, I assume I've retracted both my flail hands and just shoot one out at him. Unfortunately, he's unconscious, so I would ordinarily, if he had any hit points left, I would try to grab him by the face, but that I don't want to actively kill him. So I don't know, like the back of his cloak or something.
I mean, if you're grabbing onto him, I'm going to need athletics or acrobatics as you do that, like a grapple.
That's fine. Athletics or acrobatics, what do I do? Okay, I can do that. So. Oh, I got bad news, bud. That's a nat 1.
You get a D4 though.
Plus a D4.
Yeah.
Modifier.
I don't know if that's going to do much.
Oh my god, this is great.
Well, if I could fly.
Oh, is his is the rope that he had around his arm, is it still kind of coiled and slipping past?
Yeah. So if you want to try, I mean,
right.
Your opportunity to grab him's already gone by. So he's already kind of tussled by you, like rolled by you.
Okay. I said if that's slipping by. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, so hold on a sec. So Karina, as you're watching Foreign's body, unconscious body, go over the edge, you watch as a Traumaton reaches for the rope that's still wrapped around his wrist and is unable to grab it. Melody's unconscious form is with the other survivors on the skiff, so you're free to go pursue Foreign if you want to.
Yeah, I'll try to grab the rope.
Okay. You quickly, in your Aarakocra, you fly off the skiff. The dwarf yells, "What are you doing, you daft?" And then he sees you kind of dive down towards somebody as he's trying to stabilize. Spindle, take us down! And you see this metal creature just kind of push forward on the steering and feel the skiff kind of go down, and you're racing to catch up to Foreign. Give me athletics or acrobatics to grab onto him before you lose him in the canopy. You still have a D4 on the check.
Athletics.
By the way, the D4 is only for ability checks and attack rolls, not for saving throws, I don't believe.
It's
Okay, 14.
Okay, yeah. I put the DC at about a 12 for your first attempt. You swoop down, you grab onto the rope, and yank to prevent him from falling any further. Before long, you feel the debris fall past you, and then the skiff come up and underneath you, and you're able to land. Foreign, give me a second death save, if you would, please.
Oh, that's better. That's a 14.
Okay, that's one success, one failure. The Karina and Eritrea and a Traumaton, along with the other survivors, you feel the skiff gradually, get away from the falling debris, and hey, Spindle, level us up here. Head towards the Airy Spire. Get us out of this place. You watch as the skiff is now pivoting and going towards the tallest of the spires, the Airy Spire, off in the distance.
I can do cantrip, spare the dying.
Okay. You run over to Foreign and quickly stabilize him as well. Boy, that was some bad fucking luck. Is everybody okay? There's cautious responses from some of the other survivors. The dwarf, Spindle, easy now. And the dwarf comes over to you first, Karina. That was some quick thinking and some fast work. I've never really met an Erakokan before, but good to have you on board. Not sure what this metal thing does, but he seemed to try his best to keep the others from going off the edge. I'll get us up to the Airy Spire as quickly as I can. Hunker down. Feel it. Skiff rise and rise and rise. And then you begin to notice other skiffs along you. There's maybe about a dozen or so, packed tightly with people that were fleeing the spire. And at this height, you can now see the entirety of the damage. Where the original gondola platform was, that's completely gone. The walkway and the 2 levels that make up that side of the spire had collapsed in on themselves, including where Sarai's place was. You get the feeling that last huge explosion was her place collapsing down into the next level of the spire, which then sent just everything there in this massive explosion of chunk and debris. And where that section of the spire was, there's just this huge, 1,000-foot tall, 200-foot wide, smoking crater in the side of the spire. You could see other air skiffs still down there, kind of picking up survivors. And now you could see a large airship break away from the Airy Spire as you go past it. And it's a huge 200-foot long, 8-level deck airship that is now kind of making its way down towards the damaged area of the spire. You can hear klaxons and people calling out and people getting ready to, and you watch as 3 small skiffs separate from the airship and go down into the debris and destruction down below. Eventually your skiff settles into one of the stanchions along with dozens of other skiffs and offloading the injured. Wardens are guiding people towards the waiting area of the Airy Spire, this huge, massive platform. Eventually, Melody, a cleric, comes by and gives you 8 points of healing. Foreign, you get 8 points of healing. As the 5 of you are now gathered together in just this area of the platform on the Airy Spire, as this massive recovery and rescue is going on around you.
Can I fly away?
You can if you want. Yeah. Where are you going?
I'm gonna go outside the House of Loomis. Hopefully,
That's all the way back at the core spire?
Yeah, I need to go out there for something.
Okay. So you're heading towards House Loomis.
Is the area is there in a direction from which I'm less likely to be seen?
I mean, it's pretty wide open. There's enough chaotic rescue and retrieval going on. You can give me a stealth check, but it's a pretty high DC to get up there without being seen.
Oh.
No. For a second, it's almost a natural 20. But no, it's just a 10.
Yeah, you hover above the platform to take a route to get back towards the core spire. It's so densely packed with air skiffs and gondolas shifting and moving to go towards the area of the emergency, the disaster that just took place, that you get the feeling you're definitely going to be spotted if you try to head up towards the core spire.
I'm just gonna fly to the level where it is, not to the actual House of Loomis.
Okay.
And I'm also gonna add my inspiration to the 10 in hopes that it helps a little.
Okay. Go ahead and give me the inspiration roll.
Okay, so together that's a 16.
Okay. So you leap up above the platform and you start making towards the level of the core spire where all the houses kind of exist on that upper level right below the administrative structure of the Chandei Quorum. Leaving the 4 of you on the platform, you watch as Karina disappears up into the kind of chaos of the core spire, not unsure as to where she's going. Foreign is conscious, Melody, you're conscious, Eritrea and Traumaton are alongside Melody and Foreign, and Karina has kind of gone off on her own way for a moment.
I'm gonna go over to Melody and kneel down and take her hand and in Sylvan speak to her like face speech. I am truly sorry to have put your life in danger, and I'll cast Cure Wound on her. Wow,
Okay.
what was that?
That was me dropping my phone on a different keyboard. It kind of surprising me.
I was expecting you to get kicked after that.
Yeah, that's a D8 plus 2, so that's 6 hit points.
Ooh,
So Melody, you get 6 points back. Air Trio, Traumaton. What's everyone doing
Right.
at this point?
So, is the dwarf? Is he still on the skiff, or is he taken off to help?
He's already taken off to go back towards the disaster.
Okay. So, what we said, because I was gonna say, it's like if we hadn't debarked, I was gonna try to steal a skiff. To be honest with you.
No, he and Spindle kind of pushed everybody off the skiff and then quickly detached the skiff to go after another load of survivors.
Are there any skiffs near us that are still debarking?
Yeah,
patients?
I mean, there's a good dozen or so around. There's maybe 3 or 4 dozen wardens kind of helping people onto the main airy platform. It's a pretty chaotic scene.
All right. I want to try to find the one that looks like the most nondescript. Like, if there's an APB, there's 18,000.
See, that's what you
I'm looking
get
for
when
the
you
twist
get into
skips.
thievery. You get lagged. You get latency. When you're in the middle of a disaster and all you can think about is a GTA 5 moment on a skiff, that's what happens. Give me a
see, also,
perception
because I
check
don't-
as you look around at Traumaton.
All right, perception. I'm really bad at perception.
That's not a bad thing.
That's like, yeah, that was a 15. Well, it's a 15. It wasn't terrible.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
not great.
not a lot of them stick out. All
Okay.
the skiffs seem to have these automated sentinels that drive them. They are small. I mean, they're only about 30 feet, 40 feet long, maybe about 15 feet wide. They're kind of pleasure airships. They're designed for like very short trips. People that don't want to take the gondolas, but maybe want to take skiffs to different part of the spires. But none of them really stick out as unique. They all kind of have that same appearance.
I got you. Let me ask you this, because obviously when choosing background and characters, whatever, it's not like built to the setting. I do have proficiency with vehicles, but because it's not really set up for a city of spires, it is land. So I can pilot vehicles, but with that, since I kind of am
I would
around
give you a rudimentary understanding of the skiff. The problem is they're piloted by the spindle creatures that pilot them. So
Okay.
it's almost like you have to be wired into the magical kind of implements that are used on the skiffs to be able
Are
to
they
fly.
are they constructs or are they actual creatures? Are they?
They're
or like
constructs.
another form-
They look to be constructs. They have very thin copper bodies. Their legs are very thin and wiry. Their arms seem to be permanently attached to the helm section of the skiff. And their heads are just these kind of like IG-88 droid heads, just these kind of thin bucket heads with a singular ocular sensor on the front of it. They seem to be made for a specific purpose.
Okay, I'm going to kind of motion to the conscious people, like, hey. But I'm going to go towards the closest skiff that does not appear to have its organic owner, pilot, whatever they happen to be on it. And just see. if
Okay,
I can
you
sneak
approach.
forward.
You approach one of the skiffs that's mostly empty, and you get the feeling that this skiff may not have someone in charge of it because the people are kind of getting off on their own accord. As you get on the edge of the skiff, Forn, Melody, and Eritrea, you notice that a Traumaton has now gotten back onto one of the skiffs. So he kind of gave you a motion to follow him onto the skiff.
Oh,
My sister was on that spire. I saw her before the explosion. I need to get back there right now. That's where I'm going.
I agree to go
Okay.
with.
okay.
All three of you get onto the skiff with the Traumaton. This spindly, wiry creature A Traumaton, you approach it like you're trying to communicate with, like get close to it. It immediately detaches from the Airy Spire platform and kind of careens and around and starts heading back down towards the destroyed section of the Smolder Spire. Almost like it's like on some kind of automated trajectory to go back and collect more of the injured, and it's sending you down in that direction. Karina.
Well,
hold on. Karina, it is pure chaos down below you. You use the chaos of the gondolas and the different airships and skiffs going back and forth. A genuine emergency seems to be in the unfolding around you. Rather than going straight to House Loomis, you go to that platformed area on the back side of all the house structures, kind of where you envisioned where those other folk had met before when you guys had left, and Foreign was able to communicate with you as to what he saw from leaving his charm in the tree. That felt like a secluded area, a quiet area. It's also on the very back of the garden estate of House Loomis. So it doesn't quite put you in the house area, but it puts you on the backside of the estate, and you land, kind of bringing in your Aarakocran rings.
I look for a location where I would not be spotted, and I transform to one of the students in the House of Loomis that are not myself.
Okay.
And I try to get within 1,200 feet of where Evil is in Talon. I really struggle with that character's name because it's so close to mine. I'm going to call her Tally. This is going to save everybody so much time. I'm going to try to get 1,200 feet within Tally's room. Where
Talion Loomis is
yes.
locate, like where she would be located.
So last time, Evil said that he will be in a rat form waiting in her room, which he said was empty when he was there.
Correct. Yeah.
If I get within 1,200 feet of him, I can do Gaze of Two Minds and enter the body of the rat.
Okay.
So I'm looking for.
That's so weird when that happens. And like you get close enough, and you're hidden amongst some bushes and trees, and now you're in the mind and body of Evil, in his rat form, and you're in Talion Loomis's quarters.
Okay. I sneak out in rat form, and I look for one of the main places where I would be able to see people reacting to what just happened.
Yeah, as you come out of the quarters down into the dormitory structure of the building, and then out into the garden itself, all of the students and members of the house have run over to the cliffside vantage point that allows them to look down towards where the core spire would be, or they're on the core spire, down where the lantern spire would be, and then able to see the huge clouds of smoke and debris coming off the side of the smolder spire. And you can see dozens and dozens of them kind of gathered at the edge, looking downwards. You don't see Talion anywhere, but you do see Alindra Loomis. You see her standing amongst some of the other students and members of the house academic and kind of academy folk of the house.
I'm gonna go to Alindra's office or her room or whatever space I think is like her main space.
Okay. What's your give me a perception as you scuttle back in, and how long does this ability last for?
Let's see. Yeah, the link is good up to using the feature Warlock is blinded and deafened. You're unable to respond to the world. And you get dark vision. It doesn't have a time limit on it. It just says that
until you break the connection. Would be until you break the connection would be my guess.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you scuttle back into the main dormitory. You take the stairs. It's a little tough to get up there. And you get all the way to the top of the main tower that's attached to the dormitory. And you kind of scurry under the edge of the wooden door. Are you being stealthy at all?
Yeah, I'm being stealthy, but I assume that people are paying less attention to rats at this moment in time.
Sure, but give me a stealth check.
16.
16. As you press yourself underneath the door and you come out the other side, you could see her room is a mess. The bed's been flipped over, chairs are broken, bookshelves have been torn down and tossed about. There's a very obvious kind of like dried blood stain that's on the center of the floor, and you could see a person over in the window looking out the window, like kind of noticing what has just happened. They're dressed in black leathers with a kind of green cloak coming off the back of it. And she has like a feminine form. There's 2 blades and a long rifle, like a long kind of gun on her back. And as she turns to kind of look around and look back out the window, she looks a lot like that description of Regina.
Okay, I'm gonna try and be as stealthy as I can and just hide behind whatever piece of trash is on the floor, and try to use the mess as however much disguise as I can.
Okay. It's at that moment she kind of pulls away from the window. She goes, fuck. She likes literally talking to herself. That was over in the Smolder Spire. What the hell has happened? Ugh! She shakes her head, and you watch as she transforms into Talion. Vestments and everything, and then she quickly leaves the room and out the door. And that's where we're going to finish tonight. Because we're going to briefly talk about something before we end the show tonight. And I want to give everyone a chance to work on something. I've got Eritrea, Melody, Traumaton, and Foreign going back into the area where they narrowly escaped. I've got Karina in the dormitory of her mentor's room, learning a little bit more about Regina. So, if you haven't noticed yet, you will notice that the 2024 rules are now available to you in the campaign link that we share for the purposes of your character builds and creation and everything. We are only level 2. You are free, because I've talked to the other 8 tables, and they're all in consensus. And they all like the idea that you guys can do whatever you want. If you want to convert your character to 2024 core rules, you can do that. If you want to keep the legacy rules, you can do that as well. If you want to mix and match, I'm actually okay if you want to mix and match. That's perfectly fine with me. Depending on, I want you to be more focused on building your character story and not being overly focused on whether or not, you can optimize in legacy versus core.
Yep.
But all the rules are available to you. The major changes, the real major changes, are species versus race. Because if you switch that up, it affords you an opportunity to take a background. And background allows you to have bonuses to your ability checks or ability stats, as well as give you a feat at level 1. Obviously, the new rules subclass doesn't kick in until level 3 as well. So I believe that's correct, right? Or is it you get subclass at level 1? I forget. But one of the things you could do is you could actually just roll or just create another character on that link and create it up to level 2 of what you are now and just do a compare and see if you like the core rules versus the legacy rules. I'm not going to tell you guys to do what, for you to, do something you don't want to do. It's more about how you want to build your character story and whether or not whatever rule set you're running with achieves that for you. I'm not going to force you in one way or the other. So just a quick summary. We're going to say goodnight to everyone, and then we'll talk about it some more. So everyone, thank you for coming out. We really do appreciate it. Be kind, be safe, and don't forget, play a game. We'll see you all next Sunday. Good night, everybody. One of these days, I'll get it right.